Hello, everybody. On the 6th of August, 2025, I have left the link in the chat primarily for Counselor Reed. We will see if he shows up or not. I would like to know, Counselor Reed, what was the content of Thick Shades domains? And I will now present to you from 2019 with my commentary the one of the streams from Reed himself, where Reed himself, let's transition that over, is present and from his law office begins to offer advice and continue on this pattern of going after Thick Shades for his porno domains. Now, the question still remains to Counselor Reed, what were the domains? Did you find any illegal content, any deep fake, any revenge porn, any CSAM, child sexual abuse material, Rob? And if you did, then why didn't you report it? If you did report it, then please tell us what agency, if any, you contacted. If you didn't find any of that, then can you explain why, for the last decade and a half, you attacked Sam over domains which were constitutionally protected? The only caveat I will grant you is that it was a little underhanded of Sam to point those domains at different YouTube channels. Your YouTube channel, Brucifer's YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, and other YouTube channels. But let's play it, shall we? Let me check my audio, be sure that I'm hearing things correctly. Hello, Brett.
Anthem?
Well, I don't know about that. Before I continue with the stream, are you hearing anything with the audio on the stream? Because I'm not sure if it's coming through on that end or not.
Unfortunately for you, sir, you're coming through great. Your videos are not.
Let me figure this out then. Hello, Smokey. Let's see if I can figure this out. How are you today, Brad?
Well, I'm pissed off at YouTube because it never sends me notifications with when
Mm.
you or Smokey go live. And I got the whole damn bell thing. I even wrapped the pork chop around it. I still don't get it.
I don't know what to tell you, Brett. Let me try playing this stream again. I'm going to put me in the background so you can see and hear the stream. Otherwise, this will get interesting. But let me make this dominant and let's see. Tell me in the chat, and Brett, if you don't mind, since you're here, if you hear anything now.
Not yet.
Hello. Nope.
Now I do.
Okay, great.
How about now? Nope. 1 second. Hello? Can you hear me? I think that you can hear me, hopefully. You can put in the comments, David, I think you're there, or am I not being heard? Let me know. Oh, look at that. It's replaying, sorry.
Yep, I can hear the video good now, Ryan.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to let this play, and I will interject commentary. You feel free to interject commentary. If Reed himself shows up, then like I've said in the chat, I'll give him preference because I do have legitimate questions for Counselor Reed. And then we will proceed from there. I seriously doubt he will show up, and I seriously doubt if he does show up, he will answer questions.
All right, fair enough, man. You know I'll be quiet whenever you guys are talking. I ain't gonna interrupt.
Well, when and if he gets here, because I don't know if he'll come or not, and thank you for that, Smokey. I will then put everyone else in the back, just so that I'm not stacking the deck, or we can get through the questions. It's nothing personal. I'm sure you understand. With that, though, I'm going to resume the video.
I don't get to be Judge Dredd and go, I am the law.
Well, Brett, last I checked, I'm just a simple archivist in this sense. So, no, unfortunately, this is not one of the mega cities, and you can't yell that you are the law. Although I seem to recall certain people on YouTube who think that they are for some reason. Oh well, let's continue.
Trying to figure out this minicam still. So I'm going to go on to my channel and see if I can hear myself talking. And that will be a key indicator as to whether it's working or not. Or if I'm watching myself talk incomplete. Oh, there we go. Working or not. Sweet. I can't, it's, what I did when you lost the echo was I turned off system sounds. Yeah, the mic options on any camera just, there are so many and they're confusing. If you have the system sounds that are open while you're just maybe I have the system sounds address and get off my chest with a little bit of tea as I was ending the day. And we'll start with the hangout last night. Or it wasn't a hangout, it was a premiere by Sam, and I saw a portion of it. Tried to be as peaceful as possible, which wasn't successful. Understandably so. I talked with my pastor a little bit last night about it. I saw him after watching that, and well, number one, he thinks that it's insane that I participate with that stuff at all.
Oh my. I don't remember who Rob Reed's pastor was in 2019 when this stream played from December 2019. But I find that interesting. If your pastor says to you, I don't think this is a good idea, I don't know why you're engaging with this, it does raise a good question. While he may not have the legal capacity to advise Rob on legal matters, it is interesting that Rob's essentially ignoring the advice of his pastor to proceed forward. I guess that means at least some of his activities his church at the time was aware of, and now may be aware of too. But it does make me wonder, what did he tell them, allegedly, as it regards these domains in the situation with Mr. Kim, Thicky? I do wonder.
And he would be right. I have no noise suppression on, David, and the maximum that it goes on here is minus 50. How you doing, Brett? So anyway, back to as a side, back to the thing that was going on Thicky'S channel that you can watch. To me, it seemed like the Twilight Zone. And one of the reasons was, once again, it's so difficult to understand exactly where he's coming from, because his logic fails to make sense. In other words, if I understand correctly, and I'm paraphrasing, and he can certainly correct me if he comes in or if he sees this, on one of his socks that come in here recreationally anyway, you can comment. But it's the idea that he was, I said that pornography is a sin. and creating pornography is a sin. Distributing it, creating a website that contains it, distributing that, forwarding your domains to pornography, all sins. And then there was focus on me. Like when I say that it's a sin, it's violatory of God's will. It's that simple. And I think, if I'm not incorrect, and I can be corrected, that Sam had said, no one is saying that those things are good. And I think that was true. And that was not what I was arguing. I was arguing that, I mean, certainly sin is not good.
I'm curious, is that now an insight into why Rob went after all of this? Because to date, he will not elaborate about the domains. Rob used to go in live streams around this era of time with a large list that he kept in his law office, the same office you see here, of these domains that Sam allegedly owned. Now, I do believe he was correct that Sam owned at least some of those domains, and unquestionably that some of those domains contained pornographic content at one time. But I find that interesting. That is this the motivation here? Porn of any kind, producing porn, owning porn domains is all sinful. And is that why he went back and forth with Sam? We'll find out. And again, I'm doubtful that he will clarify, but I wonder, will Rob ever tell us why he engaged with Sam for a decade and a half over this, and what action, if any, he took? I mean, the Pokemon.net domain featuring Pokemon-related erotica. I wonder if he ever reported that to Nintendo? I remember there was an old live stream where he argued that if he was Nintendo's lawyer, he would do X. Well, then did you report any trademark or copyright violations, Rob, to Nintendo? Curious, just want to know.
But I wasn't using those words. I was saying it was sin. It was sinful. And then when I said it was sinful, somebody could correct me. Hi, Sabella. I believe Sam's position on that, and I downloaded the video, I'll have to check, is that, of course, pornography, everyone knows, I think was a line that he said, everyone knows pornography is sinful. I think that's what he said. And he was delineating a difference between sin and sinful. It's silly, but I was trying to do a Google search for the definition of the suffix ful, full, right? As in prayerful, which would mean full of prayer, or vengeful, which would mean full of revenge, vengeance. What else? Any other ideas with full at the end? Let's see what else we could. Bountiful, full of bounty, right? So the suffix is so obvious, the suffix full, and what it means, that you can't find a dictionary definition for it. It's almost like they felt it was unnecessary. And yet it's there, prayerful, bountiful, sinful. And so where prayerful means full of prayer, essentially, and bountiful means full of bounty, very full of bounty, sinful means full of sin. So there is no difference between saying that something is sinful and something is a sin. The other thing I found that was very confusing to me was the fact that every time there was mention of pornography, the only sin that was brought up was lust. As if that's, if you watch or make pornography and you don't feel lust, it's not a sin. And it's a ridiculous notion. It's also a ridiculous notion when I talk about causing your brother to stumble, and in the context of when Jesus says causing the children to stumble in their faith, that Sam thinks that kind of concept in the Bible is limited to stumbling in faith as opposed to stumbling in action. And I would submit that stumbling in action is just as much of a sin as the sinful action itself. So it's not about whether you particularly lust. It's about what it causes other people to do and what it and what it represents. Even at the bare minimum, if it doesn't cause you to lust of how it makes you look, how it bears on your witness for Jesus.
Well, I find that an interesting comment. And of course, Brett, you're still here. Feel free to comment if you wish. Uh, the last time I had Rob on this channel last month, Rob came in trying to interrogate me about my actions and recording what I've recorded that Rob says and does on both the Super Troll archive and copies of the Super Troll archive in other places on this YouTube channel. I find it interesting that he makes this comment. It could hurt your witness and worship of Jesus. Well, I'm curious. Rob hangs around people who are endlessly slandering not just myself, not just Smokey Saint, not just Englishman or Ben, not just Dave Connell too, as pedophiles all the time. But when it comes to this issue of Sam's domains, well, how do I put this? I find it strange. If there's some kind of moral issue here, then wouldn't it hurt one's witness for Jesus to not talk about it, to reverse course like Rob did on his interview with Brett about the domains? I'm just curious how that's not hurtful to one's witness.
Well, there's another thing too, Ryan. I'm always hearing. I've been hearing this back and forth for the longest time between Smokey's group and their group about this free grace and all this. If these people are saved no matter what, then what the hell are they complaining about? Doesn't matter how many porn sites they got; they're saved, right?
Well, right. Ostensibly you are correct because they could own half of the content on Pornhub, and Pornhub is notorious for the fact that they will host illicit content on their site. They will host the content of SA victims who find that their attacker uploads the content to Pornhub. They either take legal means or they try to take a takedown request to the platform, and Pornhub is notorious for not only doing that, but somehow frequently circumventing efforts through the legal system to have this content removed. Now, unquestionably, the Supreme Court does not support SA type of pornography. That is not considered constitutionally protected. But you make a great point. It would do absolutely nothing for these easy believe free gracers at all to own half the porn domains in the world, none of the porn domains, or even just one porn domain. What would it matter? To them, they are so super justified and super sanctified that God just looks at that and says, oh, well, I'm going to have to give you a spanking. But when you get to heaven, it's not going to matter. So you make an excellent point, Brett.
Yeah, that's how I see it. It's not just the porn thing; it's every bit of the behavior. That's why I call it Christian nihilism, Ryan. It's a name I invented.
That's a good term because essentially that is how they see things. Nothing really matters. Everyone can see. They do whatever they please, and they can ignore every single command in the Bible to be holy, to be separate from the world, to not love the world, to keep God's commands, to be faithful and obey. None of that matters. So I agree with you, Brad. That's a good term. I've used that term before.
The last thing I would say is I think at this point I got it figured out. I figured out the code on
Oh
how to
yeah,
know who's saved and who's not. As long as you agree with that group, you're saved. No
yeah,
matter
and that's basically it. Because at the time, in 19, if you supported Sam or if you said, "Well, Rob, I'll play the devil's advocate," if Sam owns these domains and they're legal domains, meaning it's just the general smut you find on the internet, then he's constitutionally protected as a U.S. citizen on them. You may not like it, but the court has already ruled that. So unless you're going to go, all the way to the Supreme Court and try to convince them that pornography in general has no value, no scientific value, political value, legal value, artistic value, or social value, then good, you're not going to get anywhere. And good luck with that. But you're right, because now if you criticize the fact that yes, at least some porn domains it appears Thicky owned, and yes, this people or this group of people not only will not talk about it, but also spent years attacking Sam, at least some of them, over these domains, then it's very inconsistent. If you are a Christian nihilistic free gracer, like you so greatly point out, Brad, then why would it matter if Sam owned any domains at all?
Right. He must have did something wrong, like disagreed with them or something. But I got a question for you. I'm not a lawyer of any sense. Never even been in the court myself. But isn't it? Have you ever asked the question, where the hell did he get the images of naked women in the first place? I don't. I can't visualize women coming into some building and saying, "Yeah, Sam, go ahead and take pictures of me." Where the hell is he getting it from?
I wouldn't know, and that is a question that we've never really had the answer about. On one of the domains from this time period in 2019, Pokemon.net, there was pornography, very raunchy pornography, featuring furry type uh, sex acts that had customizable Pokemon characters one could engage in various lewd acts with. Now, how Sam did that is a good question, Brett. We don't fully know. And the other question is, where's the source? Well, that's another good question, because we don't know if Sam produced the porn. We only know that he owned the domains, at least some of them.
Owning a website or a domain does not give someone the property of someone else's videos, whether private or public, done by a different distributor or company. Not a
Right.
lawyer, but I'm just saying.
Oh, well, I largely agree with you. This is why I've been pushing this issue with Reed, because I want him to clarify. And he will not clarify under any means while he continues to attack me, attack Smokey, and he will not raise this issue at all. When he went on your channel for that interview, I mean, he completely flipped the script compared to what he says here. I'll continue with the stream from 2019.
Who is who it's all about, right? And again, back to my definition of sin, which was not contradicted, is that it's basically something that falls outside of the will of God. So when you say that pornography is not sin, and sin is falling outside of the will of God, you're saying pornography does not fall outside of the will of God. In other words, pornography is in the will of God. And that to me is blasphemous. And that's why the whole thing that I was watching, which wasn't the whole thing, I think I was in there for 15 minutes, it was out of this world. It was confusing. It was like everything that I knew about sin and sinful action and God's hatred of sin was thrown out the window.
This is where I will now ask Rob a religious question. He claims to be a worship pastor. He has a whole website dedicated to this. He has his at Rob Reed Music channel for his Christian, so-called Christian worship ministry. Let's just address him as he claims to be a Christian worship leader or pastor. Wouldn't this be the point where you should have distanced yourself from Sam? Wouldn't this have been a good place to say, I we don't know all the answers about this, but instead of hanging out with Sam or trying to talk to Sam, that I should prioritize holiness. I should prioritize this ministry I have and this attachment to my church. So, by setting a good example, I can say, this is bizarre. This is obviously not Christian. It defies so many things that the Bible says on an intrinsic level, and just go on about your life.
Well, that's an excellent point, Ryan. But not just even whenever it comes to religion or Christianity. If he is a lawyer, and I'm not hating on the guy, but if he is a lawyer and he's connected with someone he knows is committing crimes, that's bad news bears.
Well, yes, that is extremely bad, and that can bring some very serious ethical charges from the state bar and potentially criminal charges from the state itself. Which, again, is also why I asked Rob to clarify, because one question he definitely won't answer consistently, but he has answered in the past in 2018, 19, and 20 when I've asked him publicly or privately on different streams. Rob, you've claimed that there are worse domains than Pokemon.net that Uncle Sam Thicky owns. Then did you, what was on the domains, and did you report them? And at no time does it appear, or do I recall him ever saying that he reported them, nor would he necessarily elaborate because, well, I mean, if you've got worse content than, you know, Pokemon.net, which was, well, the way I would describe it is barely legal furry erotica, would, I guess, be one way you could say it. Then if something is worse than that, I start thinking of, okay, we're crossing the line here into potentially illegal content. So why not distance yourself at that point? As a lawyer, according to the CPRC, which is the California practice and rules that the lawyer has to follow, which is a version of the American Bar Association's rules, that this should have been the point where Rob could have said, I can't condone this as a pastor and as a lawyer. This is just icky. I need to get away from this. And if others want to associate with it, then that's going to be on them. I'll continue.
In the Mandela effect style, that I had people in this little room in the chat too, 5 of them, I think, or 4 of them at least, who were agreeing with Sam.
I'm going to guess, based on recollection, Bill, Andy, Mad Dogs, and an Englishman were at least 2 of them, and there may have been more. But there again, that raises another question. Rob never stopped associating with these people. When Bill started in 2020 with the first campaign against me, trying to slander me, Rob did a whole stream, which is still up on his channel, and I have it, called Silence Kills, the hate group in 2020. And I called Rob up and said, Rob, they're slandering the piss out of me. They're saying all these things about me. What do you think I ought to do about it? And he called me back and gave me his advice, which was basically, there's not a lot you can do about it, unfortunately. I would just ignore them. Now, I don't know if that was a good idea. But again, in 2020, I didn't know very much about the legal system. So what I'm curious about is if there are people like Bill and Andy with which Rob has associated for a very long time who also approved of this, then why didn't Rob say, if you're going to condone this and you're going to behave a certain way, both as a lawyer and a pastor, I can't be involved in this.
All good points there, Ryan. I wouldn't know what to say.
I'm sorry, say again, Brett?
I said you made some excellent points. I don't really have anything to add to it. Continue.
Oh, yeah, I'll add briefly. In 19 to 20, when these campaigns kicked off and when these revelations came out, the thing I never understood is why still continue to hang out with not just Sam, but the people who also perpetuate that essentially pornography is okay. To this very day, publicly speaking, Bill Cuthbert never condemned the porn domains. Andy Jack kind of sort of has, but not really. Brucifer just acts like it never happened, despite the fact that he was one of the main people to call it out for an unknowable reason, I guess because he disliked Thicky. But what I don't get is I can understand the legal reason why you would disassociate from these people because they're basically either a pornographer or they're associating with people who condone that kind of behavior. I can understand the biblical reason that pornography is sin and it's sinful to engage in that, sinful to own it, sinful to do this, that, and the other related to pornography. So, to preserve my own witness and in my defense of my Christian religion, I should disassociate from certain people. But that's not what happened at all. By 2021, suddenly I was the potato pedo that these people are slandering, and the porn domain issue just completely went away.
Was a laughable notion, almost heretical, I guess, maybe potentially heretical, to say.
What the?
Yeah, it appears as though it turned
that
off.
pornography was.
What's that, Brett?
I said it appeared as though it turned off for a moment. I didn't want you to continue to play it without knowing that.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. It looks like it's still here. It was just either an ad or I'm not too sure. But I'll continue.
Sinful pornography in and of itself is a sin, and certainly to own or create a pornography website is sinful.
Okay, well, then why not disassociate from Sam at that point? How do I put it? Let's say it this way. I think the prospect of, and this is just purely a hypothetical, a cussing Christian is unbiblical and sinful. I think that this does not comport to what I think the Bible says. If that is my view, then I shouldn't associate with the Christians who would use foul language. It's a relatively simple concept. I don't know if that's right to say Christians who cuss are not necessarily someone I'd want to associate with, but I'm also not a pastor. I'm not a lawyer. There are no ethical expectations placed on me by a denomination or by a church, nor by ethical rules and statutes in the U.S. Code or other applicable state law, city law, whatever. I don't understand then, according to Rob, why if the porn domains themselves were sinful, and since Bill and Andy Jack weren't calling it out, Brucifer did, GY6 made videos mocking them at the time, then shouldn't you have said, well, I don't think this is biblical. It's sinful, actually. I love you guys, but I'm going to have to love you from afar. I don't understand. It would it would now make me ask the question, Rob, what exactly are your moral standards? Because you seem to be either willing to completely ignore them, or the standards are so flimsy that they are virtually meaningless. Because you never did break away from the porn domainers and from the people who support them. You're still friends with them to this very hour.
So that was the Twilight Zone for me yesterday. And that's why I felt I'd get off my chest right now. As far as I'm concerned, there's not much to say about it because it sort of exposes itself, right? I can't believe any right-minded Christian is going to watch that and listen to it and go, this has got to be a joke, a really bad joke. And
boy, that didn't age well.
Fortunately, I know that it's not. I know that the guy is attacking me, and he's spending all this time on this fact because he's upset that I discovered it. And it doesn't appear that he's ever going to admit to it. So there was a very good video. I didn't get to watch all of it. And I certainly don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all, but this is by Andy Capp. And Andy Capp he did a video today for Sister Sunshine and myself to talk about universalism. And as I said before, I've spoken with Andy before on the issue of universalism. And
that's another interesting point about this group. Most of these people, like Bill Cuthbert, are either open or closeted universalists. The way Bill exegetes certain scriptures, like Ephesians 2, verse 10, would definitely put him in that category. So let me just engage with it this way. Once again, if you think universalism is objectionable, you make content about it, you reply to uh, Andy and others in the universalistic sphere, but they don't listen, then either A, this is not an issue over which you're willing to divide, and you don't see it as a matter of heresy and doctrine, or B, if it is heresy and doctrine, then why are you hanging around Andy? Why continue to talk to Bill, who has very universalistic beliefs and loves to hang out over at Ace Theo's channel, a very well-known Gnostic and Universalist? I'm confused.
he makes a great case. I said that, I think, yesterday or the day before. And it's wishful thinking. It tickles my ears. I will confess. I admitted to that too. But it just is, it's not biblical. And the most obvious thing to me is that Jesus never said, and the Bible doesn't say, he didn't tell Nicodemus why God so loved the world, what would happen. God so loved the world that he gave his son, his only begotten son. Francis wanted to make sure I said begotten. That he gave his only begotten son, that whomsoever shall believe in him, that's Jesus, will not perish and have eternal life. Jesus would have told Nicodemus, there's no reason for you to be born again. I mean, why would you have to be born again? Because there's nothing, you don't have to change your mind. You don't have to repent or believe. You don't have to do anything. It's just Jesus.
Oh, wait a minute. Do my ears deceive me? That sounds like Rob Reed essentially referring to universalism as heresy. Okay. If universalism is heresy, why still fellowship with universalists? I don't get it. Bill doesn't necessarily reject universalism. He thinks that we will all effectively be united with Christ the way he exegetes Ephesians 2, verse 10 and other passages. The dude is a raging universalist who hides his universalism under palliated free grace. I mean, everybody knows that Andy Jack Cap, Mad Dogs, and an Englishman, whatever he wants to call himself, so-called Pastor Andy 123, is a universalist. So I don't get it. Why go to the trouble to clearly denounce universalism, make content on universalism still up on Rob Reed's at Rob Reed Music channel today, but you still hang out with people that ostensibly, in truth, you think are heretics? Once again, I would think the biblical thing to do is to say, well, I love you. I think that you hold to beliefs that the Bible doesn't teach. And as such, I'm going to have to love you from afar, unfortunately. I hope you repent. And then if it's severe enough, then you'd have to tell them, I don't know if you're a Christian. The most loving thing I would think a pastor could do in that situation is try to warn people and then say, if they think that this is bad enough, hey man, I really hope that you repent and receive the Lord Jesus, but I tend to think you're duping yourself into thinking that. I don't know what Rob has said privately among certain individuals, but I do know that he continues to hang around these people he categorically disagrees with on these issues.
Died and he rose again. In universalism, everybody's saved. So why didn't Jesus tell Nicodemus, hey, Nick, God so loved the world that I'm going to be given up. I'm his son. I'm going to die. I'm going to rise again. You're taken care of. It's all good. He didn't say that. There were like things. So we have to pay attention to that, and that would cause me pause. The idea of hell brings me no pleasure. I know that this is for Andy, who might see it. I understand totally where you're coming from, and particularly people who, like the Elizabeth Elijahs of the world, of a mighty wind, who embrace the idea of being able to watch people she didn't like fry, like to hug Jesus and go, look at them, right? There are some of those Christians out there. So,
well, that's a hate cult today. I mean, every one of them hope that we all perish brutally and rejoice at the prospect that, according to them, we're all going to hell. So that's interesting. I guess that means that either, again, I can only conclude, either whatever Rob's stated religious beliefs are so irrelevant to him that it doesn't matter, and he must be a religious pluralist, or possibly that he is willing to overlook his clearly held convictions to the point where, I guess, for the sake of pragmatism, for the sake of embracing people that he would effectively condemn as not Christians or Christians engaging in sinful activity, he will continue to associate with them.
that's pretty nasty and pretty horrible. But I like the spirit in Andy a lot, because he certainly has the peace of Christ, it appears, by all appearances. And he's ill now, so definitely say a prayer for him. Hopefully he's feeling better. And Andy, I am. I hope that you'll see this. It's not an attack video on you at all. It's just an analysis. The other thing I wanted to say with the T, and then maybe I'll talk to some folks for like 15, 20 minutes. Famous last words, right? And what I'll do for right now is I'll post the link in the chat so you can prepare. And we'll look at some of the comments before I bring anybody in, so you might be waiting a while. Is the sum and substance of what Andy had to say to me directly that I could tell. I think he made a comment on that video this morning, really early, my time, was that Robbie, me, should be minding his own business. And he cited, I can't remember his first or second Thessalonians, but it was really good about focusing on yourself. And it was convicting when he said it, that I need to pay more attention to my own business. And that's certainly correct. But the Bible at the same time does have portions of it where members of the body of Christ were condemning other members of the bodies of Christ for sexual immorality. And in that era, if they had TV and video, I would imagine that if somebody was running had a domain that was forward to pornography, that would be a pretty big deal, in my opinion. But back to Andy's point, he said that I should mind my own business. Andy, if you're being consistent with that, and I don't think I'm being unfair, that if I'm to mind my own business, so would you have to, right? Or is there an exception to your rule of minding your own business, that you should mind your own business unless someone else isn't minding their own business, in which case, if they're not minding their own business, then you don't have to mind your own business anymore. You can then make public videos about those people. YouTube is a conversationalist medium. It's a back and forth. And I look forward to, I hope that we will be able to talk, Andy, on this issue of when should you call out Christian brothers, right? I think.
Oh, well, that aged wonderfully. Now, assuming Rob is a Christian, I'm not so sure about that. I find this kind of, rich. It's only okay, I'm gathering, and again, Rob can clarify, when Rob does it. It's okay if Rob calls out the porn domains, which he says are sinful. But then when Rob doesn't want to do that, or it's expedient, or he's afraid that Thicky will slap him with a bar complaint or whatever, defamation suit, he then changes tune. Or when Andy says you, something that Rob diametrically thinks is religious heresy, then it's okay to engage in conversation. But when I ask Rob, well, you've made these statements like this for years. You clearly were against the porn domains at one time, and now you're not, or at least you won't comment on them. Then what happened to the conversation, counselor? I'm confused. You're in this video. You're in your law office making these statements. You got your degrees. It's clearly your law office. So what gives? Let's rewind this a touch.
Correct, but the Bible at the same time does have portions of it where members of the body of Christ were condemning other members of the bodies of Christ for sexual immorality. And in that era, if they had TV and video, I would imagine that if somebody was running had a domain that was forward to pornography, that would be a pretty big deal, in my opinion. But back to Andy's point, he said that I should mind my own business. Andy, if you're being consistent with that, and I don't think I'm being unfair, that if I'm to mind my own business, so would you have to, right? Or is there an exception to your rule of minding your own business, that you should mind your own business unless someone else isn't minding their own business? And
oh, I think I get it now. That must be how it works. Is that how it works, Rob? I mind my own business unless someone who I dislike for whatever unspecified reasons doesn't mind their business, or if that person begins highlighting things that are just a touch too uncomfortable, that's when you come after them. I think I'm beginning to understand how this works.
in which case, if they're not minding their own business, then you don't have to mind your own business anymore. You can then make public videos about those people. YouTube is a conversationalist medium. It's a back and forth. And I look forward to, I hope that we will be able to talk, Andy, on this issue of when should you call out Christian brothers, right? I think.
Well, I mean, assuming Rob is a Christian, and I'm not so convinced of that, but assuming that he is, then I'm calling him to the carpet and giving him the occasion to come in here and discuss this. Now, it's possible he may not see it, but I think I know the reason why he probably won't come in here. I don't understand. I'm not saying, well, you can't come in here because I don't like the color of your hair. I let Brett in here. Maybe other people will come. But he's not following his own standard. It's fine when you do it, you, i.e., being Rob or a member of Rob's associates in a certain hate cult under Bill Cuthbert's leadership. But when someone else does it, like, hey, Rob, you've claimed that Sam owns all these porn domains. What did you find in a decade and a half searching on the porn domains? Oh, no, he won't come in. He won't watch. He won't be here. And then when he's asked about this issue or talks about this issue on another panel like Brett's, he'll just invent a history that never happened, as though these streams aren't still out there. I mean, many of these streams, by the way, are on Rob's channel to this hour. So it's not like I'm making this up. I'm not fabricating. That's funny. Better call Saul. Well, I'm going to be careful about making a funny joke, but I will say this much. At least Saul got business. He did stuff and got things moving in the TV series. Garu Lady. Or it could be his den study at home. No, I don't think that's the case. Rob used to do a lot of streams at this time, or this period, Guru Lady, from his law office. He did the whole Bible study series while he was attacking me just 2 years later from his law office. He would join a lot of St. Brucifer streams from the law office. So I'm more inclined to think this is his law office. But I could be wrong.
Andy, you believe I'm a Christian brother. I believe you believe in Jesus. You believe in what Jesus stands for. I don't believe in the universalist aspect. I think it's heretical, but I don't think that means that you're outside of salvation. You just need to believe on the Lord Jesus, and that's good enough for me, maybe not some other people.
Oh, well, there you have it. It's religious pluralism. What's funny is Rob comes on my channel last month and says, "Well, I think you've identified as Christian in name, but not by your deeds. Yet when it comes to Andy and Bill, who defend Thicky'S porn domains and refuse to condemn them, they're still saved and Christians." Okay, now I understand how this works.
That it's good enough for me. And I appreciated the peace, and I think that a conversation that we would have would be peaceful about it. But
let me just say again, Rob is welcome, just like Thick Shades, if they will come on camera, and in the case of Thick Shades, pan around so I can hopefully discern whether or not it's the real Thick Shades or not, since his associates are using AI, generative AI, to fake voices and faces. But they're welcome to come on my channel and discuss these issues. They, however, as of yet, refuse to do it and have tried to either label me a crazy stalker after spending years harassing the piss out of me, years slandering me, years attempting to pervert the course of or obstruct justice by telling me that crimes are not crimes because I say so, and so forth.
Seem to make an exception to minding your own business when it came to me. And at what point, I guess the question I would have for you is, at what point can a Christian, in the case of sexual immorality?
Stefan, I don't understand your question. Explain what you mean by mac. Mac and cheese, if that's who you're referring to, ought not to be blocked. No, I know you don't, Guru Lady, but that's what I'm telling you. I was around during that period of time, and I was friendly in 2018 and 19 with Bill Cuthbert and the other members of his hate cult. I did not know at the time what they were, but because this was the issue du jour during that time, I was around and was on these streams. I watched these streams. I left comments on these old streams. It was the law office more often than not. It was not a personal office.
If you don't mind me asking, Ryan, what was because you're saying that you at one point in time actually got along with some of these folks. What sparked it off where they turned on you?
Well, they turned on me multiple times, but effectively, when I wouldn't put up with Bill Cuthbert's nonsense, when I wouldn't slander people, but especially when Bill's daughter died, or just before that time in 21, not 22 when she passed, but 21, I said I'd had enough of Bill. There was no way that you could convince me that Bill was a Christian, and that I wanted nothing to do with Bill. This was in 2021. Bill's daughter dies in 2022, early 2022. By this point, Bill launches a stream the 31st of October, 2021, saying that I mocked his daughter, which I did not do. Bill spent months attacking Smokey Saint, almost up to the dying day of his daughter. And at that point, Bill declares Ryan is a pedophile. Ryan allegedly made comments, which they would show on the screen, that were either from, well, and that's the thing, they've never verified who made those comments, which I supposedly made attacking Bill's daughter. And, mac and cheese, I'll get to that in just a second. And therefore, Bill began slandering me as a pedophile. Reed jumped onto Bill's stream on the 31st October, said I was a jerk and that I deserved to be called a pedophile, with full knowledge, of course, that I have cerebral palsy and this whole nonsense. And that's when this all kicked off, Brett. Um, Effectively, what happened was that I did not want to associate with this group. I didn't associate with this group. I made a video which I've posted on this channel and on the archives for a UK investigation, which is now closed, into Bill Cuthbert about the things I witnessed in Bill's home and the concerns I had. They took a clip from that video out of context and began blackmailing the piss out of me, saying either you will comply or we will call you effectively a potato, which is a child molester or a pedophile. That's their coded language for that. And here we are today, because every attempt I have tried to make to mitigate this, to make apologies that I shouldn't have to make to Bill, to try to be friendly with these people, it's all completely failed. And so now I'm left with only one option, which is the legal option.
You think that it's possible that Rob might be in the same position where, after seeing what they do to other people who disagree with them, he might feel like if he continues to be aggressive on disagreeing with them, they'll burn him into the ground? Maybe they know a lot more about him than they know about you.
Well, if they do, well, it's funny you say that, because Rob made a comment or a post the other day where he admitted that he was a, quote, star witness and a, quote, harassing, untrustworthy individual. I don't know entirely what he means by that. That was a very damaging comment on his part. But it makes me think whatever Rob may or may not know about this group, this alleged knowledge I cannot talk about, then he shouldn't have made his bed with these people. Because again, what I don't understand, Brett, is during this time he had the perfect opportunity to break away from these individuals, and he hasn't, and he won't. So your question is very interesting. What could they potentially have on Rob? Well, I don't know. I don't know the full answer to that question, but he's the lawyer. He should set the example. He's had the opportunity, and at every chance he had, he just won't do it. Stefan, mac and cheese is blocked. You mean mac and cheese? The YouTuber, I'll check my community settings and we'll let this continue to play unless Brett has something to say.
No, I was just curious. Because he seemed, Rob, from what I know about him, and I'm not hating on him, but he seems like he has a very select few social media friends at this point. And if he goes against them, he's pretty much going to be a lone wolf, right? And then there's also, what do they have on him? Because they've already shown they'll go through hell and back to destroy somebody that they disagree with, like yourself.
Oh,
And
yes.
Smokey. So what would they do to Rob? You know what I mean?
Well, Dave Connell, too, they've gone after him for 15 years. So I certainly can resonate with your statement. What do they know about Rob that I do not know potentially? Don't know, but I would also make the point, then this would be on Rob to make such a terrible judgment call to be friends with these people. And then to allegedly have evidence that if we buy what Rob is saying, what Rob has claimed, that Thicky owned these porn domains, that Thicky allegedly owned illegal porn domains, that these people are Christians who won't call it out. Rob will call them Christians still, but he won't call out what they're doing enough to break away from them, then I find that interesting. That would stink to me of, well, complicit. But let me continue. Mac and cheese might be blocked. I'm not too sure how. It might have been me or not. I don't know. Let me play this and I'll try to figure out if I can unblock him.
Stop minding their own business, right? Because it seemed that you found it more offensive that I was calling out sinful activity that the majority of Christians would think is sinful activity, that being pornography. That was less egregious and let's not say child porn and bring that in. I'll just say porn, having video of people fornicating was less offensive to you than me just calling it out. And that's weird to me too, if I'm honest. So let's go to some comments here. Romans 1:30 applies. I wish my biblical knowledge was as good as yours, David. So I don't know what that is. Yeah. They say the same thing about me though, right? Oh, there, you posted it. Is that the backbiters, haters of God, the spiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things. Sam continues to say that I invented the idea that his domains went to pornography. And there's a witness in here that saw it, and I do have video of it.
Well, Rob, you saw it. You have a witness. You have video. That would seem to imply you recorded something. You downloaded someone else's footage. Then why don't you produce it today? That would seem to imply you have evidence that you could produce, but you won't produce it. Where did it go? Where is this Schrodinger's evidence, Rob?
Somebody watches this and they believe Sam, and they want to see what I saw back in June, some 6 months ago. I'm more than happy to show you, but then the question is that you have to ask after you discover that I'm telling the truth is if it's not sinful and it's not offensive, why isn't Sam still doing it? That's the big question. Sam, why aren't you doing it? Might as well, right? Do what thou wilt. Where your sin occurs, grace abounds all the more, right? Something, paraphrasing. Creating things that link to porn is inventing a way for evil. Totally. It's not the will of God. It is a sin. It's anything outside of the will of God. There's no way that God goes, that's fine. That's good. That's what fornication. I mean, the Bible particularly talks about fornication. So if fornication is no good, then video of it is not going to be acceptable in any way, shape, or form. How is this hard to understand?
Well, I actually agree very much so. And Stefan, you are right. Sorry about that, mac and cheese. You are now unblocked. I just checked my settings, and yes, you were blocked. You are no longer blocked. But wow, this is interesting. For once, I can agree with Rob. But what I don't understand, looking back on this 6 years later, is that they no longer take these stances, and Rob is now taking the stance that Andy and Bill took. He just won't condemn it at all, as though he never condemned Sam's erotica, Sam's domains. I'm perplexed. Why do that? Why go out of your way to claim that you have video evidence to claim, which is, by the way, video evidence is good evidence because it's prima facie, in your face. You can't deny it. To explain it this way, prima facie would be, I look outside my house, I see that 5 doors down, the neighbor's car is totaled. I see with my own eyes that therefore my neighbor's car doesn't work. I go up to him and I say, "Oh no, what happened?" And he said, "Some jackass totaled my car and I just had it towed back to my house." Or another example is you drive past your favorite restaurant, and at your favorite restaurant you see the fire department there, you see hazmat suits, the business is temporarily closed. What do you deduce? Some kind of accident must have happened at that restaurant. Better check up on it. So you have prima facie evidence, some of the strongest evidence you can have, and now you just completely ignore it. You don't produce that evidence. You claim Sam has all these porn domains for a decade and a half. You make these claims on these live streams and nothing. Please, counselor, come and explain yourself.
I
Ryan,
understood.
have you thought that maybe it's not a matter of them really giving a damn or having any respect for Sam, but they're, if you don't mind me using an analogy, using him as their pit bull. Have you ever heard that term before?
Well, no, they have, and that was a lot of what Sam was for this group. Now it's rotated to other people. My point in playing this stream is to show yes, Rob did make these claims, and no, he won't elaborate on any of these domains. He's welcome to click the link, but he won't. Um, there is that sense where they not only used Sam as a pit bull, but Rob portrayed a very careful image that Sam was a bad guy and it was justified to attack him. At least this was my opinion over these domains. Now, of course, when you ask Rob to explain any of this, he won't do it. He just tries to redirect the conversation to something else. Opening the scroll, Stefan says, is blocked too. I'll check that in just a minute. Let me resume.
Did that when I wasn't even a believer, right? So, all right, something about proofs. I don't know what you're talking about there. And David also says, I seen that video that Andy made, and my initial thought was he's saying mind your own business while sticking his nose in yours. That was exactly right. But I know that Andy's intention is good. When you watch a Sam video and he's calling me fatty, and he's just ad homing all over the place, you're an idiot, that's stupid. And that's the thing. Sam, by making videos about me, is not minding his own business, and yet he's not making a video saying, mind your own business, Sam. The lady, he keeps calling me a master masturbator. Even if that were true, which it's not, but if it was true, well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a master at it. That's a bad joke.
Mac and cheese, as well as opening the scroll, are now unblocked. I didn't realize, or either I didn't realize it, or I just didn't remember that I had them blocked. But they are both unblocked.
Joke. But
so, Ryan, I take it we are now in the intellectual portion of the Rob video where we're trying to figure out if he's a master debater.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. Apparently, some of this fat shaming is native to Korean culture. Sam used to call Rob chubby, and I didn't know this until probably this year. The whole concept of being fat is something in Korea that they'll shame you over. It's evidently part of the culture. Now, I'm not justifying the way Sam engaged with people, but apparently that's an aspect. But what is so interesting to me is I've never seen a pastor hang around people like this. You see my point? Every time I've encountered a pastor who countered people where once he got to understand who they were, he preached the gospel to them. And then there was a point where he said, I'm not going to enable this behavior. I can't go along with this out of a sake of my own sense of duty, my conviction, my calling, and my ordination. I have to walk away. And what I don't understand with Rob is, well, you've pretty much given a laundry list here, Rob, on all the reasons that you should have walked away from these people. Yet you not only didn't, you actively continue to call them your friends to this very hour. It doesn't make any sense.
The point of the matter is, if that were true, it's because Sam says that he heard me say that, or I can't remember how he said. Maybe it's video. Maybe I did say it. I don't know. Did I say it, Sam? When I was 11, I think I had a conversation with people when I was 11. And I as they said in Steve Martin's The Jerk, I learned my special purpose. Yeah. Are you condemning me for when I was 11 years old and I discovered my special purpose? Have at it, I guess. But Andy, if we're consistent, maybe you could tell your friend Sam to mind out of my business when I was 11 years old.
Opening scroll mac and cheese. Sorry about that. I didn't remember or didn't realize I had either of you blocked. But not to worry, you both are unblocked now.
Maybe? I don't know. Just alphabets. Exactly right. And proof of things that he said about David and mine. David, I've heard David made a great video today.
Yeah, see, that's another recurrent theme with this group. Bill will make all these slanderous claims about myself or Forerunner Story or Dave Connell 2 or Vehicle. Like his latest claim is, you all endorse pedophiles, you enable for pedophiles, despite the fact that Bill was friends with Matt Bell, the convicted Scotch pedophile, and never condemns Roger Saved by Jesus Blood's friendship with Jonathan Turton, the library flasher. But that's a common theme. And see here again, what I don't understand, and this is a personal question between Rob and I. Rob, in 2020, you made that stream claiming that Bill Cuthbert's group was a hate group. Silence kills the hate group, you called it. I don't understand, Rob. You referred to them as a hate group. You told me at that time to ignore them and to not associate with them, which by that point I didn't. I had not associated with Bill directly for about 2 years. It's 2025, and all that just completely went out of the window. Interesting.
Forerunner Story. If you're not subscribed to him, check it out.
He was a piece of work in his own right, but since he's really no longer making content, let's just leave him alone.
It was a great video, David. It seemed to be in the spirit of peace. You're trying to just tell Bill, just give it up already, man. Let's just. We're not going to get along. That's fine.
And to give context, Cuthbert was doing what Cuthbert always does, relentlessly slandering and trolling myself in a Forerunner Story, making all kind of content, slandering him on sock accounts, endless harassment on sock accounts, claiming we were infiltrators. The usual behavior that you see from his cult whenever either they get called out or they manufacture a disagreement with whoever they dislike. Now, I don't remember everything, but the claim Bill had was you doxed us. Well, in 2018, Bill's wife made videos showing the inside of their house, and Bill showed his own house, both videos of which I have saved in the archive. So there was no doxing there. And as far as I remember, although Forerunner Story did some very questionable things, it's why I was no longer friends with him after a while. I don't remember anything like that happening per se. But even still, there was nothing from either Forerunner Story or me that merited the trolling and the harassment, the endless videos, attacking, Dave, the Forerunner Story, attacking his wife, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
But if we're not going to get along, let's just move along, right? That's a good way to go. And it doesn't appear that it's going to happen.
Stefan, I just saw your comment. That's a pretty good question. So Rob's not guilty for something at age 11, but I'm this horrendous, evil person for an event that happened when I was 11. And that's a good point. Nana and Pap Gogus Ministries. I hope you have a lot of money, Ryan. I am not at all deterred, nor am I scared by sock account threats. You know where I live. If you're going to sue me, come to my city, go to the courthouse and file. It's that simple. I hope you are prepared in discovery to present evidence to the judge, which is what you will have to do. And when I present to the judge what you people have done, I don't know if your counsel is going to say, presuming you can even afford counsel, whoever this is, that you're going to succeed in these matters. And by the way, Rob, threatening to sue me, if that is you, Rob, and I'm not so sure it is, but if that is you, that's not a good idea. Come on, you should know better than that. My guess is it's GY6, but I don't know that. So let's just block this dum dum. Moderators in the chat, if you see these kinds of comments from this or, this, you should be scared. I'm going to, so you just feel free to block them. There's no point in talking to socks. Well, and yeah, that's another decent point. Slander cases don't make a lot of money. Yeah, because I'm a multimillionaire rolling around with cash. No, that's all right. Go ahead and block this user. All right, let's
Well,
continue.
I was going to say that I really really doubt that any of these clowns out here would do anything with court, especially with the way you're dealing with the video. I mean, you've been chill, you've been calm, you're not hating
Yeah.
on anybody. Your point, most of the conversation is actually having Rob talking, and he's the one that actually is making all the users look guilty. You're just simply asking, why are you still hanging with these people? So if
Yes.
they try to take you to court, they'd get nailed hard, probably even
Oh,
laughed
very.
at. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
very. Well, if you're going to sue me for slander over what I'm recording here or what I've posted on the archive, then the immediate question the court is going to ask is who got damaged? And asking questions and recording evidence, which falls under fair use, section 107 of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, does not constitute slander. Asking Rob to clarify his own statements is not slander. You people are incompetent. So, yes, good point, Brett. I will continue.
Yeah, it's Rob making the accusations. You're simply asking the question of why hang out with people that are absolute garbage.
Well, and not just that you know are absolute garbage, but you say yourself are garbage, that you claim yourself do things and believe things which you find objectionable, that you don't think are biblical, that you even think are sinful. And I'll continue.
All I have to do is say this, Ryan. If you have to sue them and take all their money, give me a loan. All right? All I
I
ask.
don't know about that, Brett, but well, like I've said on the archive and like I've said on different channels, there will be a legal response to all this nonsense coming. There is already one in the United Kingdom. I can't elaborate on that, but I will definitely tell you I didn't just put all this evidence out there because I felt like it.
Fair enough.
Happen. There's so much anger there, and I feel very, very sad about that. But I'm not going to be offensive to someone who.
So, threatening to beat someone up, mocking their IQ, telling people that it's okay to refer to them as a pedophile and mock their disabilities, accuse them of being a sexual orientation they're not. This is all fine. But Rob will say things like, I don't care for all the anger. It's like, well, apparently at the time you didn't, but not now, Rob. You clearly don't have a problem with anger. You love that anger. You get happy when your friends get angry and they say horrible things about people. Because the thing that I've noticed with Rob and the thing that I can't help but continue to document is that never does Rob tell them, hey, what you're doing is illegal. Hey, this is not a Christian thing to do. And as both a lawyer and a Christian worship pastor, you should have disassociated. As a lawyer, definitely. Why didn't you disassociate? It is demanded by your ethics that you disassociate from these people, and you don't.
Who's a person of peace
Ryan,
for me. And this
may I offer a suggestion for you real quick? First of all, I got to ask, do you use X social media?
What social media?
It used to be Twitter. Now it's X
Oh,
ran by Elon Musk.
not really.
Well, the reason why I would suggest it is because of all the like police departments, FBI, that kind of stuff are all connected through it. And you can actually screenshot some of the death threats that have been made and some of the defamation slander made towards you, and then send the screenshots directly to them right out in the public. And they have had a tendency to deal with some people, especially if it's nasty or severe enough.
Well, I appreciate that, Brett. I mean, I've recorded all this evidence publicly on Rumble, and I've put not all of what I have, but over 800, almost 900 videos and screen recordings of this very stuff, comments, videos, screen recordings, screen grabs, screenshots, all out there. The purpose of doing that was to not just clear my name, but clear other victims' names and effectively put these people on notice. But I will keep that in mind. I will keep that in mind. My next steps, though, are well, how do I put this? My next steps will be legal, and Rob probably knows what it is. He's already acknowledged it. He even made the comment about making the LaFleur Defense Fund the other day. His words, not mine. But I will definitely keep that in mind. So, we will continue with the video.
There's not just FBI. There's also attorneys and everything else you can imagine.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'll definitely keep that in mind. I don't use X. I'm not even so sure if I have an account anymore. I don't know. I'd have to check. But I'll definitely keep that in mind. I'm already looking for referrals. I'll say that much. But I'll continue.
The author of The Darkest Path, David, he is a person of peace to me. We chat on occasion. And
no, you chatted far more than on an occasion. The two of you had quite a bit of contact, and Dave has demonstrated that, Rob. You're not being fully honest here. You had a lot of contact and involvement with Dave Connell, more than you're admitting here, and more than you'll admit openly among your compatriots. The two of you were at one time friends until you decided last year to begin interacting with him in a certain way, making lots of claims and using old St. Brucifer to, again, harass the dickens out of him when he started recording and posting evidence. I don't know why you did that.
And we've chatted in person before. Usually we discuss certain issues in private message on Facebook. I'm not going to go into what we talk about, but we have a relationship, albeit far away, albeit very arm's length, but he's a person of peace to me. And I saw a comment that you made, Bill, about the domains that I was saying, well, if you're going to compare me to Judas, I can compare it to you because Sam gave you free domains. Your comment was something like,
oh, yeah, that's another good piece of lore that a lot of people forgot. Sam did domains for Bill. Sam had domains that he either purchased or assisted Bill Cuthbert with at this time. Bill wants to just completely forget about that. But that is true. And I remember those domains. I remember Bill's comments about those domains and how thankful Bill was that Sam helped him. So Bill knew not just about the porn domains, but Bill was receiving to some level assistance from Sam with these kinds of things. But Bill can't say he didn't know. He did know.
He freely gave it to me. I didn't ask for it. And I freely accepted. Simple. Something like that is what you said. Same.
Right.
And you know that. I didn't say, hey, author of The Darkest Pathway, or whatever it's called. Sorry, David. Give me a book and I'm going to, whoever your enemies are, I'll go after them. Or I'll be silent about them. David knows that I haven't been silent about the stuff that Bill alleges that he did. Bill alleges, he goes as far to say that David made this picture of Thicky'S' daughter, and
which has long since been disproven now, and on Dave's channel, Dave Connell 2's channel, and mine, has been disproven. It looks more like that not Mike JB, the atheist, made it, but potentially Thicky'S, Andy, or Bill made this image.
Thicky'S says that also David says that he didn't do that, I believe him. And especially I believe him because when it had come out and I didn't ever see it because it was removed, but I heard of a picture where somebody put a potato on Sam's daughter's face
And later, Rob Reed would come into a live stream with Bruce and Sam with that very avatar, that potato phallus avatar on his face. I have that video too.
In a picture, which was absolutely horrible, that Sam said and had hatred for and anger way back when that happened, some 8 years ago or whatever it was, for a guy named Mike JB, who I know is not the author of let me get it right, The Darkest Path. I know that. So it's a lie. And when I know that Sam lies about me, then it's very easy for me not to believe the things that Sam says.
Well, this opens up a lot of questions, doesn't it, Counselor Reed? You claim that when Sam lies about you, you know not to believe the things that Sam Thickshade says. Should we apply that standard to you? And here again, this opens the same questions. You knew about the domains, Rob, but you won't elaborate on the content of the domains. You've claimed for a long time that there were worse domains than Gay Erotico, Pokemon.net, The Best Bud, porno, xvideos.net, etc. But you've never once elaborated on that to a sufficient degree to determine if this contained any illegal content, or I should say not this, but these domains. So it's funny, Rob. Should I apply this standard to you, Rob? Should I say, well, Rob, I know that Rob lies, so I don't believe anything he says? Because that's what you claim here about Thicky.
It's that simple. So let's see. Where does Porno Girls point now? Is he mad at you now, Sabala? Or does this go to me again? Maybe it goes to this chat, which would be even cooler, because he likes to say that he doesn't know. Oh, this is what I know. Is it the video, because it's only 121, still taking a while to load, of Meg Ryan and me watching her? Oh, that's probably the same one. That's been around a while. He made that a while ago, if that's it. And Sabella confirms it as someone else, that it was the one who did the picture of his daughter I think it was an atheist. Oh, when Roar met Ryan. Yeah, you can see November 7th. So that was done like a month and a half ago. And it's been pointed that long. So
plainly, Mike JB didn't do that. We understand now that it was more than likely Bill, Thicky, or Andy that did the potato phallus image. I was even blamed for that at one point, which is astounding. I wasn't even around at that time. I didn't know any of these people at that time. So I certainly didn't do it. But certainly, whoever made that image was definitely not Dave Connell.
See, this is where you can measure like Sam's videos and how good his domains are.
So could I apply this to you, Rob? See, this is how Rob Reed operates. This is his legal prowess and the standards by which Rob Reed operates. Should I apply that to you?
The pornogirls.net one is not so good.
So claiming, for example, that Smokey Saint is Joshua Bell, and then claiming that Smokey filed an Alford plea, not Joshua Bell. That establishes two separate legal entities, Rob. Would you like to elaborate on that, since you keep making community posts and other statements about saying, what was it? You're going to have a clinic on different types of pleas, like Alford pleas, and no contest pleas, nolo pleas, nolo contendere pleas. Should we apply that standard to you, Rob?
in the month or so that it's been pointing to Roar Met Ryan, it's 222 views right now, and I just went and saw it. The one that is good is the X video. So if you look at his videos and you go, wow, he doesn't really have that many subscribers. You can't see, he hides that because he wants to hide that fact. But he seems to be pointing every one of his videos as he makes them.
Sam doesn't have many subscribers. Sam hides that fact. So just thinking through this as a non-lawyer, if I were to sue Sam for damages, for defamation, for slander, because he pointed domains at my channel, you knew, Rob, that Sam had a limited audience. You knew that Sam did not have a large following. So the question that will then be asked come discovery time is, okay, are you being damaged because this domainer pointed a domain at you, like a porn domain? What they're going to ask, well, how many followers do you have? How many followers does this guy have? And if you answer, well, I know for a fact that his subscriber count is inflated because of artificial accounts, botnets, fake spoof accounts, and then you say, I also know that his real subscriber count is low, it's hidden, then the court's going to respond more than likely, Rob, with what? Well, we don't understand how you're being damaged. We don't understand why you're being slandered. So now this enters a new set of questions, not the least among which, Rob, that you continue to associate with these people after this time. And why? Why do that? Why would you associate with them? Why would you continue to talk about this issue, especially when, well, effectively, that's an admission that Sam's activities, no matter how morally heinous they may have been, were not really damaging you, Rob. So you can't argue, for example, well, Sam's domains were aimed at my channel, and Sam doing that damaged me in some way. Well, if it damaged you, then it's not based on his subscriber count, that's for sure. It's not like Sam had 8 million followers and was aiming porn domains at you. You might have had a case there.
To xvideo.net.
Oh, stupid ads. I hate it when it does this.
Which, remember, you will recall, or you may not, but back when this first started, xvideo.net was the first domain that I saw that he owned that had his information on it, and he denied owning it. And then when I confronted...
Oh, no, that's interesting. So, Rob, that's an admission. That's confession. You went looking for the domains, Rob. You figured out at the time, because supposedly at one point, Sam did not private these domains, and you could publicly see who owned, whatever domains. You could publicly see that Sam owned X Video. Interesting.
Him with it, then it turned into his partners, and now he's just not even bothered. Oh, this is how good it is. I'll tell you, it's now pointed to a video on his BitChute called Forever, and the number of views on that with xvideo.net, this is how good that domain is: 11,436. There was a straw man that Sam was maintaining. Even in the face, he cut off the end where I agreed that X in Xmas means Christ. I told the story about my wife and what happened because I was making the point that guy was ridiculous. He was a mean man. People didn't even like him, and my wife gave him a card notwithstanding, and then he attacked her for something that didn't make any sense. The X historically means Christ. I agree with you, Sam. You created a straw man that said that I didn't believe that. And then I joked to follow through, and you used the joke in order to prove your point. Silly. That's like a mighty wind argumentation.
And by the way, that you could argue here, just thinking this through, you could almost argue, Rob, and so could Sam's defense lawyer if you were to sue him for defamation or slander, mutual combat, which basically means, well, this was just an online banter between you and Sam, both parties have engaged in it, so both parties are liable. This is kind of a waste of the court's time. What I don't get, though, is you didn't seem to be suffering any damages from Sam aiming these domains at you. You knew that Sam owned these domains because you looked up the information. The information you claimed was public at the time, but it didn't damage you in any way. So why continually bring it up for a decade and a half? I don't get it. You knew about the domains, you looked up the domains. Now you won't explain what are on the domains, Rob. Well, if you looked up the domains and you could prove they were his through the who is information and for the fact that they used to be public, so you claim, before my time on YouTube, then you knew he owned them. You must have known what was on the domains, Rob, at least at this time in 2019. Why won't you elaborate on what was on the domains, Rob?
And you're better than that, I think, Sam. So anyway, yeah, X video, really, really good. But this X video, that's the thing I thought was pretty hilarious, because now Sam could come out, I suppose, and mean.
Dave, good to see you. Oh, okay, I just saw you. I'm sorry, Dave. I didn't realize you were here. My apologies. Hold on just a second. Okay, let's add you on so now everyone can see you. Now we hear you.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, a couple of points I'd like to add because I woke up early, not been well for the last couple of days. Also, where you mentioned about this, and Mr. Reed mentions about this potato phallus picture, what you also need to mention to your viewers is that this resulted in 3 court cases in the UK costing huge amounts of money over this, and stress for me personally regarding Andy Jack continuously accusing me of producing that. And now, as you've mentioned earlier on in this stream, I've proven with video clips from 2021 where Thick Shades, Bill Cuthbert and Andrew Jack are in the same hangout, and they blame that on my editor, Alex Botton. I've also shown that Andy Jack blamed Rob Reed for that. That is defamation. The question I have is, why hasn't the attorney at law offered me the opportunity for him to take Thick Shades to court for defamation slander, a slam dunk case, when he lived in Los Angeles? Thick Shades no longer lives in Los Angeles. He's back in South Korea. Why did he allow such time to pass? He had a slam dunk case against Thick Shades. Why did he not offer his services to me and my wife? Over to you, Ryan.
No, that's a good question, Dave. Take the floor by all means. I'll be back in just a moment.
Yeah, okay. So all of this has gone on under the nose of Rob Reed, and even 15 months ago, he started to instigate a hate campaign against me and my book. He and Bruce Brickner, along with others, incited people to go to my Amazon page. I've got all the screenshots. Even Andrew Jack made videos about it. He didn't do it for my benefit. He did it for his own lust of a drama. That's what he does. And he's going to have to face the consequences for that here in the UK pretty soon. But the thing is, why isn't Rob Reed coming forward and saying, well, actually, that's pretty bad what they done to that poor guy and his family, showing his house burning and making all these AI videos? Where are his morals now? Why hasn't he called that out now? Why is he in there in the comment section cheering them on along with the others? You know, he moralizes all over the internet, but it really is morals for hire, isn't it? Oh, by the way, hello, nice to meet you, Brett Keane. I've never spoken to you ever, but you've been around a long time, haven't you?
Oh, too long, actually. Nice to meet you, Dave.
Yeah, good to meet you, fella. So, yeah, Ryan, I just wanted to pop in. I'm not feeling up to it, but I did sort of switch on my tablet and I saw you doing this hangout and expose or whatever it is you want to call it. And I just thought I'd add my little 2 pence worth, as it were. But yeah, this.
By
Go
all
ahead.
means.
Yeah,
No, no, no.
thank you.
By all means, I'm happy that you came by. I didn't initially see that you were here. And I figured that I want to give Rob the opportunity to come to a panel where he's not going to be ambushed to answer why you've made all these claims. Why did you do what you did? Why didn't you go after Sam? Why is it that you made these domains an issue and continue to associate with people you don't think are religiously correct and you claim are engaging in sinful activity? I don't know if you saw it earlier, but Rob in this stream also tries to downplay his friendship with you. He said, "Oh, I've talked a little bit with Dave Connell." I was like, "No, he talked more with you than he wanted to admit."
Absolutely. I sent him all kinds of gifts. I sent him. It's in his room. It's in the where he plays his guitar and that. There's a little pot that I risked my life to get. Oh, way back in the mid-90s on a wreck dive. I sent him the last one I had. I sent him all sorts of things. We fell out, and this is the truth, over the COVID vaccines. He's a COVID zealot. You remember all of that stuff?
I do. I do.
And I saw a side of Rob Reed that I didn't realise was possible. He was viciously mocking me. I've still got all the emails, and out of good intentions, I was saying, Rob, please don't let your family take those vaccines. Now, of course, I've been proven correct by all of the the scientists that have come out, and now you've got your own government there that are banning all these vaccines. I was proven correct, but he can't. He's never been able to accept that fact. I've lost members of my family to these things, and when you've got me trying to say, look, Rob, I care about your family. Please don't take this, and he's mocking me, making stupid, childish comments in the emails, and my intentions were true. That's what we fell out over, me and Rob. I used to think highly of Rob Reed, really highly, and what I've witnessed over, I would say, over the last 15 months, most of all, let alone the last, 3 years, is a shocking and appalling. And the thing that they did the other day is they're all acting as a group to cover their evil deeds, and it's obvious to see. And you had Andy Jack boasted on his page yesterday. A lot of my friends saw that and they were outraged that he forced DMCA bombed my Rumble channel over content that essentially isn't his. I mean, in some of the videos he's showing me, he's using clips from the BBC, and he's claiming that he owns that content. But it's just to suppress the truth. They will do anything, including file false DMCA claims. But here's the thing, right, Ryan? You first came because if you remember, if you cast your mind back, I don't know, about 5 years ago, they even convinced you that I was this outrageous, deranged monster. But once you actually started talking to me, you realised that this was not true, was not the case.
Oh, absolutely.
And then, if you remember, you told me that Cuthbert had been blackmailing you over this incident. And this is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. I did not release that to the public. So help me God. And I will say that in a court of law. It was Bill Cuthbert, because I confronted him. They use this word infiltrate, and I suppose that is a good word. But here's another truth that I want you all to know. The reason I was friendly with Andy Jack and Bill Cuthbert for a few years is because I got tired of going to court. Well, I've tried everything. I've tried putting court orders on Jack. It doesn't work. He breaches it, and he gets Thicky'S to do his dirty work, as his pit bull, as Brett Keane said there. Now they've got this GY6 character. And Rob Reed said something to me, get close to them, but keep them at arm's length. That's what I tried to do, and that failed also. So I got to the point, I thought, what else do I do? You know, and that was it. When they started making all these horrible sock accounts about 15 months ago for no good reason, I thought, that's it. I've had enough.
I can't
And
blame you.
no, and this is when they started jumping on that. It was Bill Cuthbert, because I confronted him. I showed him the video privately that you made for the police. And make no mistake, DC Clark came to my home and looked at that. He said, there's no offences on your part or Cuthbert's, right? That was a police officer. He said, there's no, you know,
Right.
you was a minor. But Cuthbert went with that.
Oh, I know. I know.
He gave it to
Well,
GY6. And then, of
mhm.
course, if you cast your mind back, I've got that hangout where um, uh, I think Eric got the wrong end of the stick and got it sort
He
of
did.
upside backwards. And he asked me, and I've got the video, he says, could you please, brother, let me see that clip? And I trusted him. And the
Right.
rest, it ended up on his channel out of context. I didn't let him see the entire conversation. And at that time, Ryan, let's be honest, I was at peace with Bill Cuthbert at the behest
Hmm.
of Rob Reed. I didn't want to end up having all this explode up again and again and again. And I just wanted everybody to just stop damn well talking it, including you, Ryan, because I think you did mention it in one of the streams on Smokies a long time ago. And I just didn't want any of this. But the thing is, the genie's out of the lamp, and that it is what it is. But they've gone along with this narrative that Ryan is a potato, whatever, and even Andrew Jack made videos, which you've got, where he says,
Hmm.
"No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't." But now you are again. They're
Well,
so
yeah.
fickle and indecisive. They change with the weather. It's all entertainment to them, all of them. It's
Oh, of
just
course.
entertainment. But in my case and my family's case, and in your case, of course, it's cost suffering, money, lots of money, stress, loss of jobs. You've got my medical reports, Ryan.
Yes. I mean, I'm not going to divulge the contents of them, but I can confirm that
Mm.
you did lose work because of this online trolling.
They stole my website, for goodness sake, when
Right.
I was
Your DJ group machine.
self-employed. The DJ Groove Machine, www.djgroovemachine.co.uk. That was my disco company, my DJ company. And when my webmaster was ill for 2 weeks, he couldn't even get out of damn bed. He faltered on the payments because he took care of that. Thickshade stole it. And if you go on the Wayback Machine, you can see it was turned into a porn domain along with
Right.
Andy Jack's
Right. I was
video.
about to mention that.
Andy Jack suffered the same.
Andy Jack had a cam cap domain,
Mm,
which he let lapse in or around 2020 or thereabouts, maybe a little earlier. And the
yeah,
second it did, Thick Shades grabbed it and turned it into a porn domain.
yeah.
Andy pulls out his phone on video and shows that Sam had turned it into an erotic domain.
Yeah, and that was my that was the end. And but at that time I was going to retire. So what I actually did is I let my friend, a famous YouTuber, he's known for Troll Station, members of
Mhm.
Troll Station, Disco Boy, and he's a professional disc jockey. So I changed it over to him and promoted him as an agent and also a young girl from Dover who was an up and coming DJ. And that's when it went. That's when they took it away and turned it into a porn domain. And that cost me a fortune. On top of that, I was forced to start cleaning petrol station forecourts with my wife. And they were calling me a paedophile publicly, giving me trials and all sorts of stuff. And it
Showing
made me
your house.
so, that's going to have an impact psychologically on people. It doesn't bother them. I
Oh,
remember when I was friendly with Mr. Jack the first time, I was calling him up, I was sending him emails, and he used those against me.
mhm.
They're threatening emails. I'm not surprised. He gave me a trial for paedophilia for, in the Old Bailey, for producing this picture, which has now been proven 100% to have been either Thick Shades or Bill Cuthbert, because Bill Cuthbert said himself that Thick Shades accused him of doing it. So all of them willfully, knowingly participated in Andy Jack's case, 10 years of slander and harassment of the most evil, vicious kind, knowingly, for their own
Oh,
amusement.
absolutely. And the significant thing is Rob Reed knows this.
He does. He knows about. He's got my medical records because he supplied an affidavit for the court. He was privy to that, and he knows it now. And he is silent, but he's not silent about all these other things, is he? Oh, he's going to sue everybody for copyright theft. Here's another thing. You know all those videos that are up on Rumble there of of Rob Rees. I said to him when I was friendly, "Can I use these, Rob?" He said, "Sure." He
Well, then
said,
he
"Sure."
doesn't. If you have that documentation, then he can't
I've got to find it.
DMCA you.
I've got
The
to
other
find it.
thing about DMCA is that Section 107 is the fair use section. And within fair use, journalism, news reporting, criticism, and education are
Absolutely.
all valid uses of the copyright. So
Well, that's it.
by documenting what you've documented and what I've documented, we have more than satisfied what would be considered fair use under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act.
Well, the thing is, as Reed knows, and they all know, is last year my dear friend George, no longer with us, was staying with us, and he posted a lot of that stuff. He said you should start a channel, and you should show me how to start a channel. He says, and I'll do this. He said because these people need to be exposed for what he was outraged, and this is a former British Army veteran that was dying of cancer. And they knew that as well, and they intensified their attacks upon me and my book. I mean, for goodness sake,
Oh yeah,
leaving
I mean,
fake.
look, Stefan remarked about that. He says, "I remember Andy made a big noise about Linda's fake review," and he did, until of course he decided to flip the script and start coming after you and me.
Exactly. What have they got on Andy? And I've went through some of those videos with the Matt Bell, and I had a few friends here, you know, quite important friends, and we picked out a few things were kind of disturbing. I did mention to you before,
Right.
you know, and one of those videos, I think it was the first one, my mate said, "Why would you volunteer that information that he's worried that there might be something on his computer talking about hacking?" It's
Well,
bizarre.
you know, one of the first things that Thick Shades ever told me when he pulled me aside, and it was just he and I, was that A, Bill was a bad father, and allegedly B, Bill was a pedophile. And I've always wondered, okay, Sam, I can understand the first one, and that's essentially true because Bill himself has proven what kind of a father he is. But the second one, you know, I've always wondered if I could talk to Thick Shades, I would say to him, why did you say that to me without a second's hesitation? He said it as matter of factly as, you know, Ford is a major auto company.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about that as well, right? Bill Cuthbert has been pushing this narrative for 15 years. No, not quite 15 years. That narrative come across, I think it was around when Joseph Byron Swain was around, which would be about 2015, 2016. This narrative of the picture came out, but also Bill's been pushing knowingly this narrative that I've called him a paedophile. I haven't. It was his cousin, Trevor Vernon, and I've already proven that. He perpetuated that. Whether it's true or whether it's false is irrelevant. The fact is, he tried to peg that on me, and I've always maintained it was not me that started.
Well, that's correct. That's why I've also referenced the first time I ever heard anything about alleged pedophilia and Bill Cuthbert was from Thick Shades. Then I
It,
come across in the time the Trevor Vernon video. So I
exactly.
didn't say that about him. Thick
No.
Shades and Trevor Vernon did.
Well, you know, he's called me just about everything under the sun. He
Of
says
course.
that I'm stalking his kids, you know, and this is like,
Uh,
oh, are those the children that you presented all over the internet mocking Final Call and attacking me, the very same
Right.
children, along with the children placed in your care in Praiseways Church. Oh, no, but why would he download it? I've already put a video up on Rumble because the police told me to download everything, screenshot everything, including with Mr. Jack.
Exactly.
And they twist that. He's stolen my videos. It's the explicit orders or, the precise orders of the Kent Police for the last 15 years. And I've got all the recorded telephone conversations, what I'm not going to put up on YouTube because I need those, where they tell me to do exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
And, they live a fantasy. It's like they're a bunch of fantasists. They believe their own fantasies on YouTube. And it sort of dawned on me very quickly with the case of Thick Shades, Bill Cuthbert and Andy, is they care more about how they're seen on this fantasy life they live on YouTube than the real world or the consequences there.
Well, you use the word fantasy. I use the word delusion. I think we mean the same thing.
I think we do. Yeah, I think I could go along with that as well, Ryan, but I just thought, I've been going through some of the videos that Jack's made, I grew a conscience. He's devoid of, any of them are devoid of a conscience.
No, none of them have a conscience. That's abundantly clear.
But this is going to end badly. It's going to end sooner or later because me and my wife and some friends and my family, they've even mentioned my nephew. Thick Shades has mentioned my nephew. Yeah, on a sock account that's owned by Cuthbert, the typical modus operandi, juvenile behaviour. And he's making a big mistake bringing that lad in,
of course. And from my perspective, they look at me and they get all mad about the archive. Why do you think I uploaded that archive? Do you think it was just because I could?
Well, it's the thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, but they're ignoring the massive herd of elephants in the room.
Of course.
If you're offended by the material that's up there, why did they create it in the first place?
Exactly.
It's malicious. All of it.
Did a post saying he's going to sue me because I'm accusing him of all these crimes. It's called, like I said earlier, it's called prima facie, which is the direct evidence. This is the video that you made. This is the time you made it, and this is what you said in it.
Exactly. Andy Jack made a complaint to the police last week, and they called me at about 10 o'clock in the evening. I was in bed, and they said, "Hello, Mr. Jack. We've had a complaint." I said, "Andy Jack or Bill Cuthbert?" He said, "Mr. Jack," and he said, "Give me your story." So I told him. I said, "Well, he's claiming that I'm harassing him by defending myself publicly against the malicious and harassing videos he's made for over a decade, resulting in at least 2 court orders on him, which he's made public, by the way." And he went, "Okay, we're not going to take any more action, but we would advise you to take it down." I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "I've got the human right to defend myself against defamation, slander, and harassment publicly." Mr. Jack and Mr. Cuthbert have decided to put this in the public domain on social media, and that is where I intend to fight them because it's the only thing they care about. And I'm more than happy to stand in front of a judge and demand, if Mr. Jack's stupid enough, and he probably is, to try and sue me for objecting to his slander. That's basically it. How dare you embarrass me by showing how I slandered and harassed and stalked you for like 10 years? Go for it. Go for it. Because the judge...
I feel the same way. You all know exactly where I live. Mm-hmm. Go to the courthouse in my city and file. I will be waiting for the discovery phase.
Exactly. The thing is, Jack knows he's tried it before and it failed miserably, and he just humiliated himself. Why did he phone the police, right, twice and video himself doing it and put it up? That right there, when PC Stuart's phoned him up, he says, I'm recording this, by the way, and it sort of stopped PC Stuart's and he went, right. He said, and at some point it might end up on the internet. Some point, like about 10 minutes later.
Mhm.
And like,
I saw that video, yeah.
Stuart Scaife should have picked, well, he did pick up immediately. This guy's got no intention of stopping harassing Mr. Chapman. And then he made him one the next day. And it was a false allegation just to prove a point to somebody called Mark Anoia. There you see, Mark, I wasn't joking. And he showed some half-assed screenshot with no date, no proof of where it came from, to justify what he just did, and that was wasting police time and making malicious complaints against me.
Mhm.
And it's been like that ever since. And it's just gotten to the point, Ryan, I'm not even going to respond to the fucking, excuse my French, idiot, because you can't reason with criminally insane. And it's the same applies to all of them. I'm just not going to bother. I'm just going to use sane people to put a spotlight on all of this and show what these people do to innocent victims. They live to harm people and hurt people.
And it's funny because they'll claim, well, what you're doing this to hurt me. No, I'm simply reflecting your own content. I am demonstrating exactly like Dave says, exactly what you say. In fact, that's why I did this stream. I am now confused because Rob Reed in this video makes multiple contradictory claims, and he essentially just admitted that he had no case against Sam because Sam had very few subscribers. And by pointing all these porn domains at his channel and other channels, Rob did not suffer any damages. So the big question in the room is, if you think porn is sinful and you called him out on the domains, then why did you continue to associate with him past 2019? Because this would have been the perfect opportunity to say, Sam, I've tried reasoning with you. We've gone back and forth about this. I just can't be a part of this. Please take down the domain.
I can answer that simply because he uses it all the time. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Mm. Well,
He
then
tells you.
all right. That begs a good question then. If Thick Shades is the enemy of his enemy, then who is Rob's enemy? Because he made a community post the other day. The enemies are falling apart. Like, I wonder who that would be, Rob. Would you like to clarify?
The thing is, right, Ryan, and I've told the Kent police this, and I told the court, I hate all this. I
I do
despise it
too.
all. And they're dragging me, just like Alex Botten explained. I mean, Andy Jack actually done a copyright claim on an Alex Botten video that I put up, that I had the permission. He
Right.
claimed copyright on that.
It's
What?
impossible. That's impossible because there's no way he owns the image and likeness or the rights to Alex Botton's content.
It's because they're delusional.
Of course.
They truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, and I've got videos where they actually say that they're ordained by God. They're the chosen
Oh
ones.
yes, Bill Cuthbert and the dude claim that they are the church.
They're
That
crazy.
they speak to animals. They go to space prisons. Praise thinks he's seen the physical Holy Spirit.
I
They,
know, I've got it all, Ryan. I've seen it all.
oh
I've
yeah,
heard it.
they're nuts. They're out.
Can
They're
I
out their gourd.
may I ask you a question, Dan? Have you tried a counter DMCA? They can't hold you to it and control your videos if you counter it.
I did exactly that because he got 5 strikes on Rumble, and I was amazed. Right, I woke up and I looked at it, and then I just sent some legal documents over, and I was amazed. Within 20 minutes, it was back up. I counted it straight away, and it's so much faster than YouTube. YouTube, you got to wait sometimes weeks to get a response.
Yep.
But on Rumble, they were brilliant. I just said, look, I showed them the sources of where this come from and who was in it, and just did a little chronology and all of this. Showed them some legal documentation of the harassment that I've endured, and they thought, oh my God, put it back up immediately. And the fact that they're destroying evidence, and that's the thing is, all of that group seem to think that they have the God-given right, and you can't argue with someone who thinks that way. I mean, you're wasting your time to slander and harass and persecute and torment anyone they choose without any recourse or any challenge whatsoever. And if you dare to even challenge slightly, the next thing you know, you've got a summons come through your door and trying to sue you for £12,500 times two, apparently. So, you know, £25,000 for defending yourself against, you know, the harmful, slanderous, libelous content that these people churn out every single freaking day of their pointless existences.
Well, this is their existence. That's the thing.
Yeah,
They have the capacity physically to desist from this activity,
they can't. That's just
and
it.
they don't, and they won't.
Even under a court order, I showed videos of all the files I've got on. I've got about 5 terabytes in total, and I said to the police, "How long do I have to keep recording? You know, and screenshotting all of this stuff and paying for hard drives when you're not taking any action?" Well, you know, I shouldn't really say this. I've written to one of the top MPs, a party that I'm a part of, and I'm hoping that he can bring this up in Parliament to counter this Online Harms Act, where people like Lucy Connolly have been put in jail for 3 years for a single solitary tweet, right?
Mhm.
Yet I've had to endure 15 years of the most evil, vicious, dangerous, and I do mean dangerous, and you know, so I've put all this into the parliamentary, you know, arena in the hope that they can do something about this and perhaps use it. But, you know, I've said to these people, tell me, I said to the police, all right, let me imagine this scenario. Somebody maliciously, knowingly calls you a paedophile, shows your image,
Yep.
shows your house, a map how to get there, sends you pizzas to try and intimidate. What is the purpose of that? And he just had this blank, you know, expression. I said, well, it's to get you murdered, isn't it? The intention is that hope that some
Right.
lunatic will see that and get you killed, and not just me, my family. And
Yep.
I think that is extremely serious. It is in my book, and everyone sane that I've spoken to. So these people have got to be called out. They should have no safe platform, no safe refuge. And as you said, Matt, um, I will continue to expose them with their own material, and I will critique it as Rob Reed himself said only last year when he was showing people how to take down videos, but he was also mentioning by default that you can also do a commentary, a review of a video, as you are now doing here. When I woke up and I saw
Mhm.
you doing it. So, you know, it seems to me that the law is a very one-sided thing when it comes to Rob Reed and his crew.
May I
Well,
offer
and
you guys
I will.
another suggestion, real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
You remember earlier I was talking to you about the whole X social media. There's more than just the FBI and the attorney generals, all this kind of stuff. Have you heard of TeamTube at X.com before?
I haven't. I'm a 62-year-old ex-biker, retired. I hate YouTube, but my friend of mine knows all about that. Believe me, he's a massive YouTuber, and he's working on that now. Funny you should say that, Brett. He's working on that now
So the
because
the reason why I brought it up, Dave, is because I had asked AI, I said, how could I get a hold of YouTube? Because getting a hold of YouTube, as you probably all noticed, is an annoyance. It's a problem, and you probably won't ever get any kind of input. But Grok told me that Team YouTube is the employees that work in the support department of YouTube. I have sent them countless links of videos where people have made death threats, where they said they're going to come to my home and do horrible shit. And I've seen all those channels wipe the hell out. Now, if
Mm.
you'd like, I'll be more than happy to give you a link. If you have all this stuff archived, both of you, threats and them accusing you of things like that, all you got to do is post it to them and say, hey, this is the channel. This is where they're calling me this shit. Give them the timestamp, and they will take that shit out.
Yeah.
please do, please do. Would you like my
Yes.
email address? I'll do it. I'll do it live. I don't care because
My email is brettkeenphone@gmail.com. If you send me a message, Ryan, he's got plenty of ways to contact me as well. I'll be more than happy to give you the direct link.
I'll definitely get over to you, Brett, about that because that would be very useful. Essentially, it allows you to bypass the corporate structure of YouTube to alert the direct employees of YouTube. This is what's going on your platform.
Mm.
Let me also say, from my perspective, that I have prepared all of this evidence so meticulously that has come at a great personal cost to myself. It has come at a huge emotional burden. My church got threatened. My family got threatened. I
Yep, I
got
saw
threatened.
that. I saw that. I
Yep.
captured that. They were
Yep.
blackmailing you. That was GY6, this
Yeah.
Brian Davis Moore
Davis
from.
Jr.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Davis.
I've got
Yep.
that.
And he, yeah, which was a direct hate crime, by the way. I have had to endure all of this because of Rob Reed. And I
Mhm.
say that because it was Rob Reed, and you may remember this, Dave, because you have the streams, who went on the old streams where they started slandering me and said, Ryan is a dick. Ryan is a jerk. He deserves this. And then proceeded to tell them that to call me a pedophile, to attack me, is not illegal. He would represent these different people who
Mhm.
live in various different states and even different countries. Now, that alone is interesting because that sounds a lot like the unauthorized practice of law. If you're a California lawyer, you cannot advise someone in Pennsylvania or Tennessee or, heaven forbid, the UK
Mhm.
about law.
Oh
You're
no.
out of your element.
It's completely different law system here, legal judicial system. I mean, the affidavit that he supplied was worthless. Really, it didn't give any teeth, as he puts it, to it at all. I had enough evidence. I've got so much on these people. You think they would have just taken the opportunity to just disappear
I
and,
know.
and just go and find some little, crevice to hide in and just never surface again, but it's obviously a serious mental illness in the case of Mr. Jack and Mr. Cuthbert, and
Oh,
certainly
yes.
Thicky'S.
And
So
I've tried to do the same. I've given them the opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. I've tried to get them to come on panels to reason with me. I've tried with, in the case of even Rob. Now, I called Rob's law office. I don't know if anyone knows this. I've called Rob before and tried to talk it out with Rob,
hmm,
and none of this has worked.
no, no.
None. So now I have no other option. Congratulations. We're going to go the legal route. But
Well,
before
go
go ahead.
ahead, Brett.
Well,
Well,
I was going to say, when you guys are ready to email me at brettkeenphone@gmail.com, I'll be more than happy to give you the link.
sure.
They will tell you once you post a couple things that they would like to message you, and then they will start talking to you through emails. All you have to do is provide the screenshots and the videos and give them the exact timestamp where you were threatened, or someone called you some horrific name like the potato bit and all this kind of stuff, and they will go bye-bye. I have seen countless channels go bye-bye for doing horrible shit to myself. And you know me, most hated guy on the internet, Ryan. You've seen it for yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've taken Uncle Sam and Thicky'S down about 4 times over the 15 years. I wish I video captured it at the time because it was hilarious. He was Uncle, Sam was doing a live hangout slandering me, and he literally went poof while he was online. He suddenly went, oh, and then
Yeah,
his
I
channel just
remember
went
that.
boff, and he was gone. And Rob Reed he mentioned something like that. He says, you shouldn't boast about it. Why not? They do it all the time. At the end of the day, Brett, all I did was come to YouTube in 2010 because I was so terrified out of my wits over stuff that we all saw, and there was like 6 of us telling our story. That's all I came for, to tell our paranormal stories, and it was going great until this Jonathan Turden came on the scene and started telling me I need Jesus and all of this, and it just escalated from there. Really, it's crazy shit. I'm probably going to write another book about it, but I've been, trying to balance between would anyone want to read it and the overwhelming desire to expose what these evil people have done and continue to do to this very hour.
Indeed.
Well, Dave, on the internet, it don't matter how articulate you are, how intelligent, how cool your videos are. You got sociopaths and psychopaths. They just see your face and say, man, I'd like to punch
Oh,
it. That's just the
I'm
way these
curious.
bastards are. They're sick.
Who who is this potato masher that is in my backstage. If you'd like to come on my panel, then you're going to have to show your face so I know that it's a real person. If you don't, then I'm just going to kick you.
It's probably Rob Reed or fucking some idiot like fucking Brickner or something. He's a fucking
Something like
neurotic moron, you know. Potato masher. Show your face, arsehole.
Show your face.
Yeah, look at him. Look at this skinny little puny little fucking twerp. Hate. Yeah, that's a nice
Show your
tattoo.
face.
Hate. Yeah, that sums it up. There you go. That sums it up
Show
right.
your face, Brian.
Is that Brian? Do you think?
It's my guess.
He's a puny little rat fuck. Look at him.
Yeah, he is pretty puny. Eh?
Fucking
All right.
idiot. Anyway, look, guys, I can't stay here forever. You know, I'm not going to play this stupid.
Sure. I was going to continue reviewing. I've got about another roughly 15 minutes left of this stream.
Well, it's early morning here. I've got Disco Boy coming round. I've been welding up his van all week and doing all sorts of stuff. But you have a great night there, guys. And it's good to speak to you there, Brett, for the first time ever. And I dare say there'll be 1,000 videos about me and you coming from the Uncle Sam channel and James Rory. Coming to you live from James Rory soon,
well, you know what I say when people are making a TV series about me. Make sure you put my YouTube link in the description and properly advertise. That's how I am about it, Dave. But, Dave, don't forget my email, BrettKeenPhone, like in telephone, @gmail.com. I'll try to help you as much as I can, right?
That, Brett. Yeah, I won't forget, don't you? I should download. I can share this stream, can't I, Ryan, up on the old
By all means, you have my permission to upload it.
Yeah. Do you reckon that little scrawny little puke with the tattoos was Brian, do you reckon?
Based on the profile of his body from the video of himself that he uploaded on his channel, that would be my guess.
Great tattoo. Hate. There you go. There's the poster boy for the Cuthbert crew.
Must have been the name of his ex-wife, huh? Hate.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I find it funny that you can come on and not show your face, but you're also too cowardly to come directly on here.
Well, so that reminded me of something I just thought of, and now it's gone. Sorry, that's what happens when you get to 62. They things pop in your head and they just vanish as quickly.
You're welcome.
Anyway, guys, take care. Have a great one. Yeah, speak soon.
You're always welcome, Dave, and nice to see you.
Take care.
All right, Brett. Well, it's just you and me again. Let me change this thing around. I'm going to finish the rest of this stream. There is, let's see, we're at about 31 minutes out of 45. So you're free to stick around. Thanks for the info. So if you want to get around the issues with these people and mac and cheese and opening the scroll, I know with praise you've had these problems too. Something to keep in mind. You can apparently reach out to the YouTube employees via X, and you can get a hold of BrettKeenPhone at gmail.com, I think he said. But I will continue with this.
Well, Ryan, I did want to say real quick, I had no idea that you were going through this horrible shed. I knew that there was some amount of drama, but not this extensive, especially with the kind of stuff Dave was bringing up. I know nobody will ever say this to you, but I'm sorry that you both have had to go through such hell. Nobody deserves that. Continue on.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. Again, so these people keep coming in my account or in my backstage as Festus Popo. So here's the thing. If you're going to, let me put this on the screen and then hit the transition. Yeah. If you're going to come in here and you're not going to prove that you're a real person or you're just not going to engage honestly, you can leave. All right. Let's see. Kick. And yes. Let's continue, everybody. And I certainly appreciate that, Brett.
That he registered xvideo.net to mean Christian video, Christvideo.net, right, Sam? That's why you registered it. And that's why I was pointing to chat rooms with Women Spread Eagle in June, right?
Whoa. And here again, Rob, so you're calling this out because you think it's sinful and you don't think they should do this. Then why continue to associate with them, Rob? That's the thing I don't understand. If you're a lawyer, you have an ethical duty not to associate with certain type of people who do certain type of things. Now, I can't comment to the legality of what Sam did. I'm not an internet lawyer. That would actually be Rob Reed's area of legal expertise. Why continue to associate with someone like that? I don't get it.
Is that what it meant? Is that where you're trying to go with that now? That'd be a little bit tough. So let's see what we got here. I'm not going to type that in. Sir?
Be good.
I will. See you tomorrow.
You can have lunch.
I know. I'm not missing it. It's expensive. You're paying?
Paying.
Hell yeah, you are. I'll bring my card out though, just to pretend.
You should bring your card out just so Roxana thinks that you have what's that word?
That I'm a good Christian, right?
You're a good Christian. Well, that has nothing to do with paying.
That's I'm on right now with a bunch of people that think I'm not a good Christian.
That you're not Greg Small.
Well, I think Rob Reed's activities online testify to the type of Christianity he believes in. Mac and Cheese, the domain that Bill was gifted was a domain from Thicky'S. And I think there were multiple domains gifted, but I think it was a Bible domain. It's been a while. This would have been about 2018 or 19, so I don't remember the exact domain. But Bill did receive not only a free domain from Uncle Sam, he also received advice and help from Sam about certain domains. And I continue. Oh, that's hilarious. Slanty-eyed, narcissistic. Oh, my gosh. That's funny.
I'm not going to disparage anybody here that is not involved on YouTube.
He's not on YouTube.
Exactly. All right. Well, have a good one, sir.
Well, yeah, Mac and Cheese, that's why I'm reviewing this, because one defense that Rob could try to use is, well, I'm not acting in my official capacity. If you're in your office talking about legal matters as an attorney, there is no possible way that you can say, "Oh, well, I'm not acting in my official capacity." Well, clearly, yes, you were. Which means from his law office, Rob was engaging in this campaign against Sam's erotic domains. The question then is, why would you do that? And what did you find, Rob, on these domains?
Sir,
Top left.
be good.
You be the better. There's nothing left to me anymore.
Okay. It's an office mate. Very good guy. And they do immigration. So if you have...
Yeah, that's correct, Mac and Cheese. Sam Kim, or Uncle Sam, owns porn domains. And that has been very well known since about 2010 or 2011, when people like Rob Reed and the Mimic Arises began exposing that Sam owned these domains at the time. According to Rob Reed, Sam, or Uncle Sam, had these domains exposed publicly at the time. He later privated them after he began receiving online flack from Mimic Arises, from the A Mighty Wind cult, from Rob Reed and others. The thing of it is now, none of the hate cult members, especially not Praise Be I Am, Dude, Kimberly, Olive, Bill, et cetera, none of these guys call this out anymore. What I want to know from Rob, Mac, is, like I've said in the title, what is the nature of the domains? What was on these domains, Rob? You've been dealing with this for a decade and a half. You know what is on the domains, Rob. And you now will not elaborate on what was on the domains. Complete lack of candor. So I will continue.
Have an immigration need throughout the United States, actually, because that's a federal issue. You can let me know, and I will pass your name on over to them. They're very, very good, but they primarily deal with the entertainment industry, but they do all sorts of visas. So good stuff. So, yeah, Brett says, I wish your wife had taken that Christmas card away from the mean man. No, but she, part of her regretted giving it to him. And she was out of that job, I think, before the end of the next year. But he was just, I had met him before. He was a really mean man. and I thought it was a very sweet thing that she did. And he just, it bit her in the butt with it, which kind of sucked. And she was younger, so she was more sensitive to those things. So she came back home after that happened, and it was just, it was such a weight. And I kept telling her, it was just wasted emotion on a man that needs a lot of prayer. And I had that attitude, and I wasn't even a Christian when that happened. So you got another Christmas card from Ray Comfort's ministry. How are you doing, Bruce? Cool. You know, I don't know what you feel about Ray Comfort. I don't agree with.
I absolutely agree, Mac and Cheese. Since Rob Reed admitted to seeing Sam's domains, he would be complicit if there were actual crimes committed, allegedly, or if the domains hosted illegal content like illegal erotica, illegal pornography, or other potentially illegal activity or content. Rob kept a list, a master list, and he used to come on live streams, Mac and Cheese, to show that list of those domains. He would say there are way more domains than just these, and there are worse domains than these. So he knows the content that was on Thick Shades domains, and they weren't all porn domains. Some of them were marijuana related domains, and I'm sure that there were other domains Sam owned, probably some pedestrian, probably some of other types. I don't know all the domains that Sam owned. What I know for a fact, however, is that Rob does know what's on the domains. What he won't do is tell us what is on the domains. So far, there are pornographic domains that Sam owned. We know that. That's not the question. The question for me is, and like I've said before, if there was illegal content on Sam's domains, Rob, that you came across as a lawyer, did you ever report it? And yes, they are. I don't know exactly who and what, but there are people who are buying up these domains, and I will continue. At least people within the hate cult buying up these domains.
A little bit of what he has to say, but I love what he does, and I love that he loves the Lord, and I love that he wants other people to as well. So that's cool. Let's see what else. Yeah, let's see. I don't know who Copper Cab is. Maybe that's a good thing. I am Ron, who may very well be Sam. How are you, sir? Wonders if this is about Sam. And I guess partially. And Sabella says, yeah, Sam's been. You could go to Sam's channel and you'll see. And that's the other thing with the only problem I'd have with Andy's video and his comments directed to me about minding my own business is if you look at Sam's channel, need I say more?
Well, there again, if you look at GY6's channel, if you look at Bill's channel, you look at Andy's channel, you look at Rob Reed's channel, they don't mind their own business. Rob Reed on his @RobRood channel docks to not only me, he docks Dave Connell, a lawyer. Imagine that, a lawyer would do that. And I know what he's going to claim. Well, this was publicly available information. I also have videos where Rob admits to using IP manipulation software. I have screen recordings where Rob admits that he claims to have had Kenny Rhodes' IP address. Well, if you're a lawyer, why do you need that? Why do you have that? That's illegal.
Right.
Hey, Ryan, are you familiar with Sabella?
Stab Ella Shepherd? I am.
Yeah, she's a crazy one as well. You got to watch out for that one.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Sabella in quite some time, and I don't really want anything to do with her. I know she and Bruce Shepherd used to be together, but there was all this drama that came out about her. She was one of the biggest Thick Shades defenders for a long time, come to think of it. She's oh boy, she's an interesting one.
Wherever there's drama, you'll find her.
Pretty much, Stefan. So that's why Free Grace is so attractive. You can literally support and advocate porn, etc., and still be on your way to heaven. I should look into that. Essentially, yes, Stefan. That's it. That's just the thing. The theology these people believe is the ultimate panacea for them against their morality, whatever's left of it, because they don't really have morality, to object to what they're doing. And see, what I'm now wondering about here is Rob's going to try. The first thing the lawyer's going to claim is, "Well, I don't know." Well, you definitely can't do that now. That ship sailed a long time ago. So you do clearly know, Rob, what was on the domains, but you won't answer. You won't answer if there was illegal content. It leads me to think that if there was illegal content, you didn't report it. But more than likely, there was not illegal content, Rob. And that would therefore lead me to conclude that you harassed Sam about his domains for 15 years, only to turn around now and publicly state on channels like Brett Keen's that, the complete opposite, try to discredit people that bring this up, tell a complete fictitious version of these events. Again, the question still will remain, and I don't know if we'll ever see it answered from Rob.
Ryan, I responded to your email, and I was also curious if you'd be interested in this. I don't know if you want to after dealing with this tonight, but I could possibly get it set up to where I moderate neutrally, open up a show on my Brett Keen Live thing, and perhaps get you and Rob in there to discuss these things if
Well,
that's something you're interested in.
sure, I'd do it, but I guarantee you he's not going to show up.
Well, if I can get him to, I'll email you and let you know, and
Sure,
when the time
I'm
would be.
game.
If you want.
I'm game. Sure, man. You got the ability to contact me by all means, Brett. Yeah, let's see if we can do it on your channel. You don't want to come on mine? Maybe we can go to Brett's channel and talk about these matters. Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Rob has seen me bring in people who absolutely hate me onto my channel and actually have discussions with them. So he knows that I'll chill out and let you guys get out whatever beef there is.
Well,
But I
no,
responded to your email, by the way.
sure, thank you. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this up. There's not much left, and it's getting late on my end anyway. But onward we persist, and thank you for that, Brett. I will absolutely attend a discussion at your channel if Reed will do it. I sincerely doubt that Reed is going to do it, but yeah, if he agrees, I'll be there.
Well, if he doesn't, then people are going to look at him as though he's a poser and a coward. So I don't think you remember what Dave said earlier. They don't want to look bad on the big screen.
Well, it's again, the ball is in the counselor's court. He was welcome to come in here. He won't do it. I'm almost positive, based on the view count that I've been watching this whole night, that either he or his associates are here. Because I never get 13 people watching my streams unless I cover content about the hate cult. Then magically, all these people start watching my channel. Huh. I wonder why that is.
All right, but you got to remember, if I get this going and everything like that, I have to be neutral and step back.
Of
I
course.
won't. I
Of
can't
course.
jump on either people's side. Just let you guys say what's on your mind.
Well, yes, and I mean, I'll be very plain. The things that I would want to ask him are like I'm asking tonight. What was on the domains? And that's all I want to know. I don't consider Rob Reed to be a friend, and I'm of the opinion that Rob was never a friend of mine. I saw him as one, but I don't think he ever regarded me as such. And I'd want to know about these domains and potentially other issues. I'm trying to exhaust every means that I have to mitigate this scenario, because if that is not an option, then the other option is obvious. Off to the state bar we go. And I will continue.
So it is 5:48. I'm the last person in the office once again. And I have a confession to make. I don't know if I confessed this before, but it's not good. And it's arguably sinful, but not a sin.
That doesn't make sense. How is something sinful, but it's not a sin? If something is sin and it's modified by the adjective full, then it's sinful. So that's some word salad.
According to Sam's logic, I guess. I'm making a joke once again, Sam, for your exposed video. But get
Very well.
this. As of today, December 19th, I can't believe it's already December 19th. We have not put up our Christmas tree. So that's the plan this evening. Last night, we were doing some ministry work. I was at church, and that took away. And my son, his teacher has him writing a 20-page book before the end of the semester tomorrow. And he's been working on that like a banshee, doing a great job. And that's been one of the things that's prevented us from getting that tree together. Now, how many in here think that that's a good thing because it's just a pagan idol? YouTube, you've got to love it. I'm getting comments on the Christmas thing, the Christmas music that I was playing last Sunday morning in the Hangout. And somebody who I think is Frances Rude, actually, but I don't remember Frances Rude being against Christmas. Somebody can let me know if she is.
Let me see, Stefan. I'm not sure if that is Sabella's channel. Hold up. Let me go to the right chat. Let me open this. Sabella had a number of accounts that I remember. Yeah, no, that video goes to Uncle Sam's channel. Yeah. This is her, and that's the infamous is that the infamous stabbing a box video? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it is. She's an interesting person. We'll say it that way.
By the way, I went ahead and sent them a message. I expect to hear something within a day and a half, and I will email you upon getting a response. All right.
Well, just let me know, Brett. Let me know, and we'll see what we can do. We will see what we can do. And
we'll call it the Last Chance Hotel. How's that sound?
That sounds like a good title to me because I'm trying to exhaust every opportunity that I can here. I'm going above and beyond what I should before I exhaust what I have promised, which is legal action. So let's see what we can do. And away we go with the remainder of this stream.
Somebody who I think I just thought it was Francis. And sorry, Francis, don't get offended if it's not you. Just had like a language like that. Was saying, sent me a link showing how Christmas is of Satan. And get this. The person said that the word Christmas, MAS, meant dismiss. I don't know where they got that. Let me see if I can look it up.
Well, I mean, that's an easy question to answer. It's Christ's Mass in the Anglican tradition and in most more apostolically minded churches in the Eastern Orthodox Church and Roman Catholic Church. We have a special Mass on Christ Mass Eve and Christ Mass, where we celebrate and commemorate Advent, the Lord's birth. That's the origin. It's not that hard to find.
Real quick. Because what I'll tell you, what I think it means, what I've learned, the suffix, once again, we're talking suffixes like full. Sorry for the grammar lesson. But mas is mass. It's like a church mass.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I don't know who this commenter Shy is, but welcome. I wish you success in your endeavor. Well, thank you. Thank you. I've been dealing with this now for just under a decade with these people, and half of that time has been all this PDF slander. I've had to sacrifice this channel by turning it into a channel where I report on the activities of this cult. I would have liked to have turned this channel into something else, into fitness content, into potentially Anglican related content, but I find myself unable to do that because it is more useful to document what this hate cult does and says on this channel than it is to create a separate account. And, At some point, I will make that content, fitness content, but I find myself unable to do so on this platform, at least this channel. However, I'll continue.
right? Let's see suffix. It's not even showing up. Is it in the dictionary here? No. But my understanding is it doesn't mean dismiss. So what they want to say is that Christmas is it's a holiday to celebrate the dismissing of Christ.
Yeah, that's not accurate. I don't know why Thick Shades and Francis Rude or whoever else would say that, because it's Christ's Mass that we Anglicans, that our Lutheran brothers, the Roman Catholics, the Eastern Orthodox all observe.
I'm
Hey,
sure
Ryan?
those people.
Yes.
Real quick, can I offer you one last thing, and then I'm going to shut up for the entirety of the rest of this?
Yes.
You would. It makes me feel kind of bad because you've had to spend so much time drafting this and getting all this information, archiving, and it's pretty clear from the sound of your voice that it bothers you that you don't get to talk about the religious aspects of your identity and personality. I will offer, if you're interested, and there is a ability to get paid through this. You're aware that I do Spotify radio connected to hundreds of different outlets. If you would be interested, I can make you a team member, which would allow you to upload your religious content to it, and I'll show you analytics each month to show you how much you're actually making off of it and off of clicks and views. If
Well,
that's
thank you, Brett. I will definitely consider that, and I will keep that in my. I'm not going to say keep that in my back pocket. I am going to give that some serious consideration and get back to you regarding that. I certainly appreciate it, and it's not to say that I would not develop other channels or other social media funnels. It's just on this particular channel, I cannot discuss my religious beliefs because I've got all these hate cultists, and well, since it's already got enough following within the relevant community, I can easily disseminate information to relevant individuals. But certainly, Brett, I will be in touch with you in the next day or so regarding that. And if you don't mind, I'm going to finish this up. Feel free to make any comments. Let me take down this comment. And I will continue. We are almost done. We got about what? Just about several minutes left.
we can discuss it in
Are
email later if that's something
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
interested in.
that's fine. I'll shoot you a separate email where we can discuss that. I certainly appreciate it.
probably in either the Mandela circle or the flat earth circle or both, one or the other. So pray for them as well. I'm just about done with my tea. Thank you for spending a portion of your Thursday night with me. But one reminder again, I'd love for you, the people that are watching and that will watch this video, I'd love for you to join me this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, hopefully with my wife. And I'd probably read some scripture if no one else participates, because I'm hoping some people might have some scripture they want to read, particularly the Christmas story, which would be great. And so if you don't sing, you don't play anything, and you don't want to do that on video or whatever, if you join the chat, which I'd love for it to be like an open mic. Of Christmas songs or worship songs. But if no one shows up, then I'll end up reading from scripture. But if you don't you're not a musician, and I open it up.
This does present me with an interesting opportunity. Rob's last CD, I almost sang on it. But because I had a bereavement, I opted not to do so. I lost a very dear friend of mine at that time, probably about 2, maybe 3 years ago. And that friend, he just passed away, went home to be with the Lord. I just decided, I don't know if I want to do this, and I can't, meet these deadlines. I'm ultimately glad I didn't, because now I wonder if I want my voice associated with Rob. I'm glad it's not. But people don't realize this is not just some spat. I was, on my end at least, I thought I was a legitimate friend of Rob's. until I have had to endure almost 5 years now of this lawyer and his activities. So I'm not getting mad as I used to get in the past. I want answers. And I'm finding that when I go seeking for those answers from Rob, he doesn't give them. I'm finding that when I record what he does within the public sphere, he doesn't care for that. So I'm curious if Rob will do this. I will also remind Rob that candor is something that matters to you as a lawyer, and you've demonstrated some incredible lack of candor, Rob. You've not answered a single question I had, and then when you came on my panel, you not only dodged, Rob, everything I tried to ask you about your ever vacillating religious identity, you then accused me of being a pedophile. So,
Ryan,
yes.
I wasn't going to interrupt, but I already got a response.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
Unfortunately, the news is sad. He says
I know. He's not
hard
coming.
pass. He's not interested. He did wish my family well and all that kind of stuff, but said he didn't want to do it. So
Well, Rob, then let the record stand that you are a coward and you will not back up what you say. And I'm almost positive that he's watching. So I'm almost positive if he's not watching, then his buddies are. Then Rob, you're a coward. You do not stand by the things that you made. You've made all these public proclamations for years, and you will not come. So I think we've cleared through enough of this. Let me reconfigure things in. Yeah, there we go. Let me reconfigure things in EVMux. And there you have it, everybody. Brett, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here. I'll definitely be in touch with you with regard to your offer and the information you shared about X.
my apologies that I wasn't able to get him to come into a
Hey,
room and have a
I mean,
discussion with you.
no one is forcing him or coercing him, but I will absolutely say it. Yeah, I appreciate you, Brett. You gave an honest attempt to Rob to negotiate some sort of discussion between he and I, and Rob is a complete coward. He will not do it. He makes all these public statements about me and others, but he won't come in. He won't come talk to you, and he won't come talk to me. So there you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me tonight. Brett, do you have anything you'd like to say?
If you agree to doing the Spotify radio, I'll have to send you a verification. That way it'll set you up and you'll be able to log in. Hope that's not a problem.
No, that shouldn't be a problem. Like I said, I'll be in touch with you about that within the next couple of days. I've obviously got things of my own to attend, but I will certainly get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, thank y'all for joining me, and I will hope to speak with you all very soon. I think now I'll go ahead and shut her down. So may Christ's peace be with you all. Amen.